Jamaicans, I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to build up a country. Jiggy jiggy and march, march. But we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. Whether PNP or well, on behalf of all Jamaicans, I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to build up a country. Jiggy jiggy and march, march. But we could dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance, so make we march in unity. Whether PNP or labor rights, work and love's all of we are marching on to progress. Jam down la fiala we. Everything Melissa goes down, we are gonna build back. We are gonna build back better than before. Every house we broke down, we are gonna build back. That's how we got have blessings in store. Time come to rebuild together. Cause Jamaica is our home. We are stepping out the darkness into the light. We're gonna build stronger roofs and doors.
Good evening, Liberates, and good evening to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Laborite alive. Good evening, my people. Good evening, worlders. Now, guys, I have some special guests for us this evening. We're going to run a panel with these three special guests this evening. I posted a post on Facebook this morning, talking about the Tophill incident, and it has garnered over 30,000 views thus far. Persons are interacting with it. Persons have messaged me wanting to know, more details as it relates to the shootings in Tophill. So I take it that a lot of persons did not know about it. So I have garnered the help of the elders to come and tell us that story this evening, my people. So wanna share up a live, like up a live. Remember now we ask for 100 thumbs up per live. Please subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. See, let's roll out the evening shout outs, my people, and then I will get them on the horn. See? So Beverly Clark, big up yourself. Keishan, big up yourself. Mark Nemad, big up. PB, big up yourself. Tanya, big up. Fitzroy, big up yourself. Motivator, big up yourself. Janet, big up yourself. Mama Winsome, good evening. Now, guys, I am going to add these persons on the call, and we are going to talk, or they are going to talk in great details as it relates to the incident that took place in Tophill in St. Elizabeth. Now, if anybody is from the area, and know what happened as well, please make yourself known in the comment section. See, Lifestyle, big up yourself as well. Big up yourself. Big up yourself, Denise. So may I get them funny hand, my people. Bear with me a little bit, me. I may get to them, and then we're going to kick off the program. All right, Uncle Josh. I'm gonna call Uncle Josh first.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Uncle Josh. I got add Uncle Darlan. And you have it.
Anything don't reach yet.
Me not have connecting number, so him have to go call me and then me will add him to this. You give him a number, right?
Let me send you his number.
Alright, send me number upon this. Yeah, send me number and send me number on this phone, right?
Yeah, all right, no problem.
Yeah, man. Good evening, Uncle Darlan. Uncle Darlan. Something I go on with the network, my people. Now tell me if you don't see me. Tell me if you don't hear me. Now tell me if me blurry. Tell me if me chippy. Tell me what I go on. See? You don't see me correct. You don't see me alright, right? Alright. You don't see me good. Alright. Alright. Everybody say we okay. So, may I wait for Uncle Josh to send me the number. And then... Yes, Uncle Darlan. Uncle Darlan. Uncle Darlan.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Turn down it's something in your background there, Lord.
All right, that's some come out of this environment here.
Yeah, man. Alright. Uncle Darlan. I have a couple other persons on with you. Telling the same story nonetheless. I am waiting on Uncle Josh to come with the other number. So for persons who don't know who Uncle Darlan is the farmer caretaker candidate for I forget which constituency now, but he is a prominent member.
St. Andrew Western. St.
Andrew Western. See, so he was St. Andrew Western. So he was the JLP caretaker for St. Andrew Western. I don't know Uncle Josh already. I hang up Uncle Josh, I go call you back. I go add you to the call. Let me add Uncle Josh. Uncle
Yes, sir.
Josh? Yes.
Did you get through to connect?
You know, send me the number. You send me the number upon this phone?
Yeah, man, on the other phone. I sent it to you on the other phone. You said I should send it to you.
No, man, this number here, but me add it from here. No worry.
Alright.
Alright, my people. So, on bear with me a little bit. We have a little technical difficulty. I got add connecting the dot now, but me have to add him to my contacts first. So let me just add him to my contacts and then me will add him to the call. And then we can kick off the program. So I've added him, Uncle Josh. I wait for him for.
No problem.
Mm-hmm. Big up in a jam down.
That's a fancy Saturday.
Alright, we don't want to kick off the program till he join. We'll start with your Uncle Josh.
Yes, man, you can.
Alright, we don't hear Uncle Josh properly. Guys, we'll see if we don't hear the phone call properly. Okay, here he is.
Connecting here.
Good afternoon, connecting the dots.
Yeah, man, what you doing?
Enough respect. Good evening. Alright, so.
Brother Darlan.
Yeah, man. Uncle Darlan is here as well.
Yeah, man. How you doing, bro? I'm good, thanks. How are you? Blessed and highly favored, man. God to man. Very, very good, very good.
So guys, I have posted a post on Facebook, which is, is garnering a lot of attention. And I want to speak to you guys. I want you guys to speak to my audience about what took place in Tophill. So we're going to start with Uncle Josh, and then you guys will chime in. I especially want to hear from you, connecting the dot, because you're a new one on this platform over here. I know you've been on TikTok, but on YouTube is your first time here. So we especially want to hear from you. So Uncle Josh, take it away,
All right, so I'll start briefly and then you.
Yes.
All right. Good evening to you and to all of your listeners and those who will come afterwards and catch the tape version. Good day to them.
Yes. Good
Talking
evening.
to Elizabeth is really a smear on Jamaica in more ways than one. Because what it represents is one of the greatest period in the history of politics wherein we can say the life of children were lost.
Yes.
Not only was the life of children were lost, but in the midst of it, the sitting prime minister at the time, which was Micheal Manley, during that period, was very much present, not as a referee, but as possibly the architect of the very thing. In fact, I wouldn't even say possibly. He was very much a part of everything that was happening. It was during a time when we had political divide, as was started by Micheal Manley, because it's under his tenureship that we started having tribal politics in that sense. It was under his politics that we began to have violence included in the politics. And don't mix up tribal politics with violence, because tribal politics means that not only have you taken a side, but you're fiercely committed to that side, irrespective of.
Yes.
That's what tribalism said.
Yes.
But violence now is another scale to the same thing. What violence is that either you're physically assaulted or physically harmed. That's what violence is. And it's during Micheal Manley's tenureship that those things were introduced to our politics. We never had that before. Just like under his tenureship, it's when the homicide rate in Jamaica started getting out of hand. In fact, every possible bad thing in the history of Jamaica, without being malicious, without being political, without being tribal, right? I can say a good 98% of the things that are negative that is associated with Jamaica can be traced back to either Manley himself or the time that he presided over. Right? And it's not by accident, it's because of the politics that was practiced during his tenureship. The first time that we ever had any person connected to public life that was not only assaulted but lost their life as a result of it was under Micheal Manley's tenureship. The first time ever that we have ever had cost overrun on any public projects was under Micheal Manley. And the first time we can say that we had dons involved in our politics was under Micheal Manley, fed them up.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Right? So every possible negatives that we can think of either belong directly under Micheal Manley or during his tenureship. I would say a safe 98%. So that which we are speaking of is the loss of life of 2 children in a place known as Tophill, St. Elizabeth. And so I don't want to be a movie spoiler. This is the trailer I just gave you.
Yes.
I'm going to let me and Star connecting, who was in law enforcement at the time, who was intimately connected to the very thing that we are talking about.
Yes.
Have a bite of the cherry. Connecting, good evening, sir.
Yeah, man. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to the panelists.
Yeah, man.
Good evening to the host.
Good evening.
Good evening, your listeners.
Yeah, man. So connecting to that, I want you to explain to the audience who you are and what position you held at the time.
Yeah. I will give some context. Because context is very important, you know.
Yeah, man. Most definitely.
In the discussion.
Most definitely.
The People's National Party believes in winning elections at any and every cost. No matter what it takes, the PNP is determined to win elections. This started from way back in 1976 when the Carlstone poll, which was probably the only poll around, it was a very credible poll, Stone organization.
Yes.
Had Micheal Manley trailing the JLP in 1976. And he did not go down without a fight. He lied to the people of Jamaica. He did a public broadcast that there were some subversive elements. I was a youth in St. Thomas at the time,
yes.
Western St. Thomas. And when I heard that announcement and saw the army tankers driving out, I was afraid because, by the way, at that time I was a supporter of the People's National Party. You know? Yes. So if subversive elements were trying to overthrow the government that required army tankers to come out and a state of public emergency, the whole island, Micheal Manley put the whole island under SOE, state of emergency. Now remember, at that time, once the state of emergency is declared, only the Prime Minister could have the power to lift the state of emergency. It is different now. Edward Seaga changed it.
Yes.
When he came in 1980. That is why the PNP can now go to the parliament and vote against the state of emergency. Because of what Edward Seaga did, because of the PNP's conduct in 1976, where America declared a state of emergency for the entire island, and it lasted about 1 full year. June 1976. And this information is on the internet, you know, yes. Until June 1977. By the way, even with that 1 year state of emergency, homicides went up. Didn't go down. Homicides went up in Jamaica that year.
I'm connecting before you progress, sir. How important is that? Because you said something that the average person may not be able to relate to. How important is that statement that you made, that you said, boy, despite the state of emergency, homicide went up? What do you mean by that?
Well, if the entire island is under state of emergency for 1 year, you would expect, and well, first of all, a number of persons were detained under the state of emergency. A number, especially JLP operatives. They skillfully locked up 1 or 2 PNP operatives to make the thing look because they are not domino. They have a lot of lawyers, and they sat down and they work for this thing, and they lock up. I think George Pang was one of those arrested from Jungle, and they put 1 or 2 PNPs in jail. Colonel Charles and Bobby Grange were 2 of the persons arrested. They then minister.
Why were they targeted?
Connected. Yes.
If you don't mind, if I can come in, I just throw a little light on what you say, and then you can continue. You don't mind that?
Yes, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. And I don't know the gentleman here. This man with the S. Greetings to everybody.
Uncle Joshua.
John, you're doing a fine job, and you have to keep it up. I don't know if I'll be able to write my book again and outline everything that went down. But you're ferreting out the information, yes. And you're passing it on. You're doing a good job. The people of Jamaica need to know,
yes.
Right?
The
PNP is a dangerous organization that all the wrongdoing that it has done over the years, it's stifled. It's stifled. And in coming up with this discussion here on the matter, it might interest people to know that the monument that was erected for the 2 boys were destroyed because they want to bury evidence.
Whoa.
So that monument was destroyed and had to be rebuilt by the Mayor Frank Witter when he was mayor.
Whoa.
You understand? So what you're doing, Dojan, is very valuable, and the Jamaica people need to listen and understand and know that the alternatives to the Jamaica Labour Party is an evil organization, very evil organization. But just to feel
Darlan,
yeah,
in layman term, because the average person listening, while some persons may grasp what you have just said, when you said the alternative to the Jamaica Labour Party, what are you referring to? Because you said the alternative to the Jamaica Labour Party is an evil organization. What do you mean in layman terms by that?
The PNP.
Well, the PNP, the PNP, we don't keep part and I'm about to talk. The PNP is an evil organization, and it was organized to gain and keep power. You understand? The nation development is incidental to its primary objective, which is to get and keep power. Right? And as Connecting say, they plan to do it at any cost. And to come back to the person at hand here, the point that Connecting is raising, because that is something I have highlighted previously, but people don't seem to understand. During the state of emergency declared by Micheal Manley, murders increased in the 2 years that straddled the state of emergency.
Wow.
Right? 76 murders increased. I don't remember the number now. And by 77, it went up by another 100 murders. And somebody asked the question why that is so. I tell you why it is so. It was the cleansing of labor rights by the PNP government of the day, using their henchmen. You understand? Using people like Fedamap and Burboy. Because Fedamap was the one, him claims him provided thing to the PNP, the strategy to the PNP. It's a strategy called scatter them.
Wow.
So the idea was to scatter the labor rights them from certain critical constituency. So that is how South St. Andrew became concrete jungle, the strongest PNP garrison in Jamaica. South St. Andrew is a place where the JLP won, right? ECL Parkinson was Speaker of the House. I don't remember the years he was Speaker of the House for, but he was Member of Parliament for South St. Andrew.
So I got a question. I got a question.
Let me make the point. Let me finish.
Yeah, man. Land.
Yeah, and so ECL Park was the MP there, and Tony Spalding won South St. Andrew by 104 votes. 104 votes.
This was 1972.
72, yes. And now South St. Andrew is the biggest garrison the PNP have, right? And that was achieved by the scatter them strategy. That was, the ground force to that approach was man like Fedamap, Burboy, Starkey, and those terrorists. You understand? And what they did during the state of emergency was to go out and murder labor rights. And that is why the murder rate went up.
And burn them out too. Burn them out with fire.
Yes, they burn them out, they burn up the house. There was a number. Let me tell you something. Jamaica people don't understand. And all these atrocities went without, none of these perpetrators was even charged. You see, even when Fedamap get killed. This is the kind of country we grew up in, man. When because Fedamap dissed the program, he went to Cuba, kick over port table, embarrass Micheal Manley. And Micheal Manley just started to the DJI, the man said, look, come take care of that youth of me. And they came down and took care of Fedamap. And I can tell you, if you search high, you search low, you will never find one file that was open to investigate the murder of George Spencer, otherwise known as Fedamap. You don't investigate them, just kill him and that was it. We were a lawless society with a party that all it is focused on was getting power at any cost. So that is why, under the state of emergency, murders, rather than going down, increased. And you don't have to wonder if Sales Comrade was committing the murder, because all of the JLP top notch them, the ranking man them, were in detention. The Massop was in detention. The brother there who take, you remember the guy who come out in the woman clothes? His name again? He took over from Massop. Micheal, yes. Micheal. All of these guys, but Micheal was detained, up there. And when he come out of the detention was by dressing like a woman and come out, right? So all of them snatch them from Tivoli, all of the other strong areas them. Every JLP strong man was detained. Nevertheless, murders in Jamaica increased in 1976, and it increased by 100 more murders in 1977. And ironically, as soon as the state of emergency was lifted, murders fell. You can imagine? Murders increased under state of emergency and decline as soon as the state of emergency was lifted. So the state of emergency was not more than cover to give PNP bad man opportunity to murder labor rights.
So then that will try get down a vote count for labor rights.
It was all part of the scatter them strategy.
Yeah.
That is all. You see, I tell you about South St. Andrew, where ECL Parkins was the last labor right MP there. He lost by 104 votes. And now South St. Andrew is the strongest PNP garrison in Jamaica. Right? Southwest St. Andrew was JLP biggest garrison under DC Tavares.
That's where Angela Burnberg is now?
Yes.
Correct.
So Southwest St. Andrew was JLP strongest place, if you like how Tivoli is at the strength now. Yeah. Southwest St. Andrew and DC Tavares was the most of the JLP.
Wow.
Right? This DC, the last time DC won, they must have won by 4,000, over 4,000 votes.
Wow.
And see there now, Southwest St. Andrew is the BNP second biggest garrison, if not the biggest. It's between it, Southwest and South St. Andrew is the PNP stronghold, right? And these were all JLPs. It was South was a marginal constituency that JLP won, and South was JLP bedrock with DC at control. It was DC who built all PNV,
So
but to get back to the new point,
Question I want to ask before you move on connecting to that. And this is a question that I want to throw to all three of you guys. Now, the PNP like to say that it was Edward Seaga who was the aggressor and he brought in all the guns and stuff on the island. Now, if Edward Seaga was the aggressor, why did he not retaliate when he won the 1980 election after all that the PNP did to us? Can somebody explain that to me?
Well, it will be disingenuous or hypocritical if I come here and tell you that both sides didn't have weapons. Both sides had weapons.
Yes.
And then I joined law enforcement in the late 1990s. So I can speak to that with some clarity and factually. Both sides had weapons. The JLP side had the Bushmaster, the popular Bushmaster, and the M1 enforcer. But the PNP was...
Connecting?
Yes.
Which year are you talking about?
1980.
Oh.
1980.
Okay.
Yeah,
But connecting.
Once again, the PNP introduced the M16 to Jamaica in that same year.
Connecting.
First feature that Gold Street, in the Gold Street Bazaar. Yes, Joshua.
All right, so you're coming down later. We're talking about introduced.
Joshua, I was trying to do it. I was doing where I moved to.
All right.
It's based
All right,
on
go
the
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
You know where
Go
I'm
ahead,
from,
sir.
right?
Yeah, man, it's based
Right,
on the
go ahead.
question he moved.
Yeah, man, you know where I'm from.
Yeah, man.
So, all
Go
right.
ahead, sir.
And I introduced the 76 conversation to bring context
Yes.
and to show that the PNP used the state of emergency in 76 to win. They became very desperate in 1980 because the poll had Mr. Siaga and the JP leading by a canter. The same cartoon for vote. And so Mr. Manley started an election campaign from February 1980. That campaign lasted for 8 months. I believe the strategy at the time was designed to create mayhem, to create a high level of violence, and to drive fear in the hearts of the people, to try to get them, and at the same time to cleanse some community, which were JLP strongholds. One such incident was the Evenide home fire. That genocide at Evenide home. The residents here were females, all female home. And they lit that place ablaze.
I was told today by a comrade that was lit by Edward Siaga. You know, I was told by a comrade today that happened because Edward Siaga.
Hold on, man. Hold on the clip. Since you raised that, just allow me to do it. It's already.
Yes.
Just allow me to finish. I have the information, you know.
Yes.
The fire destroyed Evenide homes in the wee hours of May 20, 1980. 153 elderly women perished in the fire. Some of whom were bedridden. They didn't stand a ghost of a chance to escape. The information that we garnered then was that the women, 90% of the women, were singing, every day they were singing the JLP party campaign song. Palms of victory, bells of freedom, deliverance is near. Where the home was situated was on Stipend Road, right in Margolin's constituency. I can tell you from experience and knowledge that laborites were afraid of PNP. Laborite supporters were afraid of PNP, and PNP supporters were afraid of laborite. No laborite wouldn't go in a PNP era, and no PNP not going in laborite there. I can tell you another fact. No laborite will find themselves like that there. Like first thing. On the morning of May 20, we were called to assist Kingston. I was then stationed in East Kingston. And we were called to assist Kingston Central Police Division with a demonstration. They were overwhelmed by a throng of PNP supporters who found themselves on Duke Street in the vicinity of the Parliament building. When I arrived there, it could be about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And they had a lot of placards. Siaga analyzed the Evenide home. Siaga lit fire. Siaga and the CIA. And those everything Siaga and the CIA. Siaga had a role on the Guambo tree. And now I cannot rubbish. Somebody knows spell, but you could have know. And we moved them from God knows and get them from the air. That's finished with it. The demonstration finished with it. The question is, where did the PNP, how was the PNP able to garner the support of their supporters to bring them out so early in the morning when there was not even landline those persons at the time? They would have got a telegram, it take 2 or 3 days for them to get it. The popular means of communication at the time was to send a telegram at the post office, will take you 24 to 48 hours. Wow. And there was this large crowd of PNP placard supporters out there. But listen now, and you can find this on the Jamaica Library Service. Michael Manley ordered a commission of inquiry in the Evenide home fire. So you know the PNP don't select nobody apart from the surrogates to do these things.
Yes.
You know what the result said? You can double check it. Go on the internet on the library, Jamaica Library Service, and you'll find it.
No, National Library of Jamaica. National Library of Jamaica.
You're correct, Joshua. National Library of Jamaica. You're correct.
Yes.
You know what?
You won't find anything connected to that.
I tell you something I was about to say. PNP has been scoring on the internet, so you might not find it either.
Yep.
Yeah, but I told you that. That's the inquiry you're referring to. it was held in camera. And I think the Jamaica Labour Party government should release that information. Make Jamaica people know how we should be.
What does in camera mean, Doran?
It was videoed.
It meant it was held in secret.
Right.
Okay.
So it was the findings were not made public.
Okay.
The findings were not made public because what really happened, you had a lot of people from jungle who came down and testified as to what really happened. Because them know what go down, man. Them know some man like Lakatouche and all them man there. Tony Welch and all them man there was involved in it.
Pang name was called though.
Well, I don't know about that.
But Garland.
Yeah.
Even though the report was not officially released, but the commissioners concluded, because you know those reports will leak, the commissioners concluded that the fire was as a result of an electrical short circuit. In other words, the commissioners appointed by Micheal Manley rubbish the CIA narrative. So lie will not tell CIA. The fire was as a result of an electrical short circuit. And they had fire brigade confirmation, the fire chief and the PMP surrogate confirmed that the fire was as a result of an electrical short circuit. I don't believe.
But correcting. I still believe that the exhilarant was used to start that fire.
Yeah,
that is
what happened.
I believe the exhilarant was done by youths that were directed by Tony Spalding.
Yeah, that is what happened, But what Connecting is saying is that what the official said, they were speaking in favor of, something other than an accelerant, They were
what? They were whitewashing.
Yeah.
I've not seen that report, but if that report is there, it's a whitewash.
Yeah, man,
right?
Definitely.
But you remember, I don't know Connecting if you remember, when it was you, Small Daddy, and Justice Small, honorable man, who conducted the inquiry, right? And when he made his findings, he was alarmed. And that time, that was right after the 70. No, wait, let me see.
The fire was 1980.
90. Oh no, I'm mixing up the Orange Lane fire.
Orange Lane. I was about to tell you that.
Orange Lane. Yeah, the Orange Lane fire was in 76. Yes.
76.
It was what Micheal used as an excuse to declare. It was this alien crime that Micheal used to declare the state of emergency.
Yes, man. Yeah, man. The Home fire is different from the Orange Lane fire.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Orange Lane fire.
So what I know? There was a police report.
But was there an inquiry for the Evenide Home fire though?
Yes, man. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. There was a Micheal Manley.
Remember, say that again, Paul. I don't think Micheal is starting an inquiry.
Hold on, darling, man. If you don't remember, you can check it in, man. But what I'm telling you about is what I remember.
All right.
Micheal Manley ordered a commission of inquiry and he appointed. Remember the fire was 20th of May 1980. Micheal Manley was still the Prime Minister,
Yeah.
She didn't take over the country until
October.
No, not October. November. Because the election October 30, 1980.
Yeah.
So the government was formed in November 1980.
Yeah.
I remember these things like yesterday. I remember them clearly.
Yeah. Yes.
So what I know? So there's a school of thought that Mr. Siaga should have changed the commissioners. I'm glad he didn't. Because Micheal Manley, the PMP said they're not going to appoint anybody. The PMP will not appoint anybody who can manipulate and control.
Yep.
And those commissioners came forward and said, lie will not tell Siaga and the CIA the fire was as a result of an electrical short circuit. But the police report, there were eyewitness report that 4 men were seen running away from Concrete Jungle, that's Golden's constituency, towards the Evenide home shortly before the fire broke out and shortly before the fire started to rise. same 4 men were seen running away from the scene towards Concrete Jungle.
Yep.
The police had that report and the thing.
Yep.
So the commissioners contradicted what the demonstrators had demanded. And I tell you something. Micheal Manley, those who first came out and said that the fire was the work of arsonists, and reference was made of petroleum jelly found on the scene because they knew at the time that the only place that produced petroleum jelly was US. Lie. Both.
Connecting. I know he was giving an interview to a foreign journalist, and the journalist pinned him down. He said, "How you know? Nobody not investigate this. Nobody not investigate this thing yet. How you know?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Can't. So
that report was online, but I bet you can't find it now.
No,
they must cover the whole place.
You cannot find it because some of them something I may look for. I can't find it.
They must cover the internet, but they must take on what something.
Yeah,
and they have the surrogates all over the place to help them. You know, just off track a little bit. I'm going to show dangerous PNPs. I had a case in court with a PNP lawyer. And at the time, we were communicating by text message. I made a bang. So only text message. I made text her about something, but a discrepancy in the case. And reference a text message that I sent to her with the same information. And about a month after, the phone company deleted the text message, you know. You know what I'm saying? The phone company not only deleted the text message, but the phone company put a piece of message that we communicated with my wife with. And take off the message off of your one, put that piece on the end of my wife message, you know what I said? And then take off the piece off of my wife message and put it, replace it. It'll be a bill like get that done, then go to the phone company and do it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that is just a little side issue to show you how dead these people are. So now, the whole must win syndrome with the young, we must win the election. And they told us, you know, they told us because it was Pickers Gill who said that they are of the view that it is best for them to run the country and they will do anything to make sure them in charge of the government. So now this Tophill incident was right on the heels and in the same period that Manley started the campaign from February 1980. And the election was not until the 8-month worth of bloody campaign. Homicide moved from 351 in 1979 to 889. Blood just flowed like a river all over the country, but especially in the Kingston metropolitan region. So, I must remember the boy's name, you know. I don't know who have the names of these 3 youngsters. The 2 youngsters on Tophill.
Yeah, man, I have them there, man. God Broomfield, who was 8 at the time.
No, one was 7, one was 9. 2 cousins, them, you know. One was 7, I think, and one was 9. 7 and 8. That's what's on the monument. That's what is on the monument, anyway. God Broomfield, 8, and 7-year-old Maurice Stevenson. They were both cousins. I think there was another child who got shot, but he was not fatal.
Yeah,
I was told that the case connecting.
I was told today that child is now.
3 children were shot.
Yeah, man. I was told that the 3rd one today. I was told today that the 3rd one is now a prominent businessman in the same community. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, man. 3 kids were shot, man. 2 fatal and 1 survived. But
I want to dovetail this in the whole. It just spring in my spirit before the conversation, before I was caught. This incident took place on the 18th of October 1980. 12 days before the general election. Only 12 days. But there was another incident that is worthy of note that taking place on the 14th of October that same year, where an incumbent member of parliament, and I think he was parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of National Security, a PNP man named Roy McGann. 4 days before the Tophill incident, he was gunned down in a yellow police bullet in Garden Town Square. This is a man who it was alleged was open fire on JLP meetings. But that night, he didn't know that there was a contingent of police officers at the meeting. And they came and started to blaze up gunshots on them, and the police retaliated and cut him down on his bodyguard. Himself and his bodyguard perished in there. A policeman died in that incident, 14th of October 1980. So the closest of the Tophill incident, yeah man, acting Corporal White.
A Corporal White go and kill Magian, you know.
Well,
I think Magian died from friendly fire.
Well, the next thing is the coroner's inquest was held, and the inquest held the view that no one was criminally responsible. That was due to misadventure. So the police who were involved with that were never charged or anything.
Yeah, man. I think Corporal White go and kill Magian. All right. And when Michael had to announce, he was very chastened and embarrassed because he wanted to come see a labor right kill him. But when
look here, man.
The ballistic show say it was Corporal White gun, he had to disclose it to the public.
Well, Magian, you know, was a former JDF senior officer, you know. He was arrested.
Wait, correcting. You're police. You never know say Magian was the man who run the brigadista program. You never know say Magian was the man who distributed guns to the PNP.
Was a terrorist, you know.
You never know that. Your intelligence never tell you that. Magian was the man in charge of the brigadista program.
The man was a known terrorist. That man, Magian. One day, you know, a few months before he was taken down, we were in the Bulbia area because we used to do Eastern Patrol. And we were in the Bulbia area. And we received information that he was in the Baito community issuing weapons. The supervisor took a decision not to go up there. So we mounted a roadblock at the Bulbia police station. And his vehicle was stopped. Minister, you know, our permanent secretary, member of parliament, stopping vehicle, pull him over, and searching vehicle. We never find a weapon. But somebody observed that his bodyguard had 2 weapons on him. He had 2 bulges. And he was checked. And the additional weapon was found on him. He declared then that it was for the MP's gun. The MP was charged. The MP claimed the gun. He was charged by illegal force and ammunition as well. By the time the case got to court, Magian produced a brand new firearm booklet for the illegal gun, you know. Signed by one PNP supervisor at Eastern Kingston. Man, Eastern Kingston, you know. But the PNP supervisor at Eastern Kingston signed firearm booklet, backdated. It was backdated 6 years behind. Back stamp. In the whole back stamp and stamp it. So he pleaded guilty in court for failure to renew his firearm license. I think it was $600 in or something like that. Wow. At the time.
I got a subscriber on here who is cousins with the young man that survived the shooting.
Okay.
On here, yeah. Continue.
Yeah, you find somebody who carry the dream.
Yeah, man. There's one of my subscriber that is here now, present.
Yeah. So now, DUJON, I have to be wondering now if that incident, because they didn't go after the two young boys, you know. They went after the then JLP caretaker, Mr. Cecil July.
Yes.
He was the target.
Yes.
But what happened now? Cecil ran through the house, and the youngsters went under the bed.
Yes.
So they thought it was July under the bed when they hear they shoved him under the bed. But you know, a little bit, I'll keep quiet because they're scared.
Yes.
And then pepper them under the bed.
Wow. And
alive, 2 of them are injured, 1. But July runs straight to the house and take bush and escape in nearby bushes. As the police normally say. July ran straight to the house. So if Magian was taken down the 14th, and I remember Michael Man, they had to already get a replacement for him. July was leading him, the other candidate, with a canter in the polls. So to take him down 12 days before the election, it would have put the JLP in a difficulty to replace him, you know. Yes. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it may have been reprisal. The reprisal keep him probably around for a long time.
Yeah.
Nomination has taken place already, you know.
Yeah, man, the nomination, everything, election day, they wait for him to go vote.
So
past nomination day, he was nominated.
But JP, what Labour them would have to do is vote for the dead Labour, right? and then yeah.
We rope on a provision for that.
Yeah, man, if a candidate, after a candidate is nominated, you can't vote for him still,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after he's been nominated, if he die, you can vote for him and then you'd have a by-election. But if you don't vote for the candidate of your tribe, then another candidate might win and then it might stand.
Yeah, you don't mind. You don't definitely stand.
As I said that, I want to send condolence to former member of parliament. Is it
Leslie Campbell?
Leslie Campbell, yes. Very good observation, Dujon. I wanted to mention him in my preamble, but we start discussing without coming in with a preamble. But yeah, that gentleman was honorable, man. That guy. I don't know anybody who don't like him.
Yeah.
He's a friend of everybody. He make everybody feel like they belong to a noble organization. You know. Him reach out, him talk to people, him see people come and engage him. That is how it should be, you know?
Yeah.
You want to join in expressing my deepest condolences to the Berry family, including the Jamaica Labour Party family as well.
Yes.
I met Mr. Campbell some time ago. And he's a cool guy. He's a cool, nice guy.
Yeah, man, that man who used to go stand it when we just go there, you know. He coming like when I grab high school, you know.
Yeah.
So you need every man who can come out and reach out to you and make you feel welcome, you know. And he was one of them who was very Stone and them man they engage you and make you feel, you know, feel like you belong.
You know, I want to ask a I want to ask you, you know, during Micheal Manley's reign while he was a young police officer, have you ever been given an order by any of your, you know, supervisors to carry out any orders that relate to political bullying or bullyism?
To be very honest with you,
yes.
Since I was very, very young, I had independence of thought. I was a very stubborn. They used to say that I'm not a team player and I'm recalcitrant. Those are the words they used to use and describe me. You can't go to and you know, no matter how you're senior, you say go to work. Understand?
Yes.
When I was at the Police Federation in 2000, I was then the General Secretary of the Police Federation. A senior officer called me one day. And it wasn't really any big stick, you know. He just wanted to encourage me and to coax me that in order to line up my promotions, I should call a senior member of the National Executive Council of the People's National Party who would guide me into how the federation should be run, the police federation should be run, and the salary negotiation. Because as a General Secretary, you know, I would make up the agenda for the Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
Others would give ideas, but I would do the job, you know. And he was there saying, boy, my promotion would be fast track once I cooperate with them. He gave me Ada Robinson nickname. I must call later. I just go for many and pray to God and ask God to direct my path and to guide me and to empower me to lead the Police Federation in a manner that God wants me to lead the Federation. I didn't make the call. Otherwise, I probably would have by the way, that man retired as an assistant commissioner of police. When they called me, he was a DSP. He retired a few years after as an assistant commissioner. And let me be frank with you, I knew at the time, based on what I was seeing, that if you cooperate with the PNP, they promote you. I'm not about that. And they must know that everybody can just carry and jog in and they murky water and they murder them. Not everybody going to follow because of a dirty promotion. They're going to get themselves involved in the nasty. They must know that. They must understand that. You get me? So by the grace of God, I didn't make the call. I didn't make that call. And I have no regrets now that I didn't make it. Because, I mean, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, and I say any and everything.
The reason why I asked
Outside of that,
the reason why I asked that, you know, connecting to that is because somebody told me today that, you know, during those times, police officers used to come into JLP strongholds and they would arrest persons, beat persons, and fire shot in their ear and them thing, you know, just to intimidate labor rights.
Well, I got a report. I got a report in 2002 while I was a member of the Central Executive of the Police Federation. After the election, members came there, some complaints. We got a number of complaints after the election. We got a report that 4 members are at the crime management unit, 4 of them. 2 were sent to Central Jamaica and 2 were sent to East Kingston to bodyguard 2 washed up dons who were issuing who were allegedly issuing millions of dollars to buy votes during the campaign of 2002. 4 of them were armed with M16 rifles. 4 members of the force were armed with 16s. So 2 went to Central Jamaica.
John.
Yes, Mr. Dolan.
The information you're getting is true, man. There was a squad named Echo Squad, man.
Okay.
Echo Squad. And them used to go around and terrorize the labor right them all over the place.
We also got reports, Dujan, that some members were given hundreds of extra cars in the trunk of police cars and given instructions by their commanders to pepper JLP strongholds in marginal constituencies. You remember that election was close, that 2002 election was close?
Yes.
One such constituency, we got the report, was run by, I think, Julian is now. I think Maxine and Wilson was one. Is that correct, Dolan?
I wasn't following that.
Where was Maxine Henry Wilson in 2002, you remember?
Where was what?
Maxine Henry Wilson.
Maxine Henry Wilson.
In 2002.
You know, yeah,
Julian Robinson is now.
That's around my Nannyville side she was.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, you remember that she won by 200 people that vote?
I don't have that number off the top of my head. Huh?
Yeah, man, that was one of the constituency where you get that report that was put place under the labor place under severe pressure to stay in. Police drive up and dump on those labor right areas and Jake's Road and them place and pepper did right all day because they had a lot of rounds.
No.
One comrade asked me one day, say, who me report it to? As a member of the executive of the Police Federation. That's a matter that should be reported to the Ombudsman or the GG, or both. But the Ombudsman are PNP. The Ombudsman are PNP, the GG are PNP, the Prime Minister are PNP, the Minister are PNP, the Commissioner are PNP, the whole individual are PNP. Report it to. We will report that too.
So connecting to that, let me ask you, when Edward Seaga won the election and managed to half murders, how did he achieve that?
You have to come now, I'm not here.
Yeah, hear me now?
Connecting, it seems like your internet is the one that's bad. Alright, so in the meantime,
yeah, man.
Yes, I am. And Dujan is hearing me.
Yeah, man.
And you were the ones who he couldn't hear.
Yeah, man. I think connecting to that have internet issues.
Yeah, but Dujan, to answer your question.
Yes.
Because really the 1980 murder rate was an aberration. Yeah, it was really based on the political violence. The PNB was really hoping to shoot them way to power. So the normal rate was like about 400 per year. But then Eddie established what was called an eradication squad.
Yes.
And not unlike what it's been done now, a lot of them was made to meet the maker.
Okay.
You had a lot of the guys, them brigadists who went to Cuba. And this is something I wanted to say, and people need to understand it. The brigadista program was coordinated by Magan, right? The Gold Street massacre, the first rendition of the brigadistas in Jamaica. The Gold Street massacre was planned in Harborview under Ryan Magan stewardship. And the guy them used a boat. It was a seaborne assault. You know, the man them glide a war them go. So they went to the planet in Harborview and then used canoe and came across the sea, because by that time they didn't want to move heavy weapons on the road, because by that time the police was not sympathetic to the PNP no more.
Okay.
And they came ashore at Raytown Beach and running there. So me hear man talk about say the two sides of the weapon and all of that. Let me tell you something, man. When the man them running on Gold Street, the man them run, they say I must say 2 little 45 them had. 2 little 45, the man them run and PNP and the brigadists man them running with every man with the M16. And a side piece.
So M16 did the American gun. How them get them?
Yeah, man. M16. That was part of the thing, you know, because the PNP are very good at disinformation. They're very good at propaganda. And what really happened is that the Americans left a lot of M16 in Vietnam.
Yes.
And Vietnam was taken over by communists.
So then send them to Cuba.
There's this communist fraternity, so you know they were able to send the M16 to Cuba.
Okay.
And Cuba sent them on to Jamaica. Right? Then you know, the spy world, the underworld business, they want plausible deniability. So they use an American weapon to try to get the impression like say it couldn't have been a weapon coming from Cuba or the communist world, because they might have used AK, another Soviet-made weapon, right? But that is what happened, because there was America left a lot of M16 in Vietnam, and the Vietnam authorities, you know, in a fraternal relationship, sent somebody to Cuba. Somebody
No, I didn't hear what Dujon. I didn't hear the question. Dujon was breaking, but I didn't hear the question that he asked.
You know, so I remember the question.
No, that's all I'm responding to.
I don't remember.
So
the
like,
he wanted to know how Seattle was able to contain crime after the 1980 explosion. You know, nearly 900 people died.
I think I can give the best answer to that. As Darlan said, the Gold Street massacre, it happened in April 1980.
Yeah.
This was the first time that M16s were featured in Jamaica. In fact, when we went down there and picked up the shells, we didn't know what weapon it was. We took them to the armorer at Ellison Road. The armorer didn't know either.
Whoa.
He had to go on the internet. You know what the internet was? Magazine. He had to start to read us a magazine. That was the internet of the day. And then he called us back off the road. The man was panicking.
But I was reading Soldier of Fortune magazine.
Huh?
Soldiers of Fortune. There was a magazine like that, you know, it would show you weapon and weapon training.
Yes, man. Yeah, man. He had to go deep into the magazine and read it. Didn't find him.
Wow.
And when he called us, he was warning us and said, gentlemen, when the man began to talk, we like to leave all the force in the man. Because we think up now. And we had like a meeting of the mind, and we decided to report to the police federation. The chairman of the federation at the time was an inspector named J.D. Macbeth. Macbeth approached the then Minister of National Security. What's his name? Dolly Thompson. You know what Thompson told him? M16s were not designed to be fired in. We know confirmed, you know, what gunmen were firing at us on the road. And the man told the Federation that M16s were not designed to be fired in built-up areas. The moment Siaga won and took over office, he said he ordered some of the M16 from America. Get some of them quickly. And we started to go on the range to practice and how to use them. And by January 1981, the police were heavily armed and began to outgun the criminals. So the murder rate fell by 50% in 1981. And the police was the hunted became the hunters became the hunted.
Much like
police had hunted them. So it caused the murder rate to topple from 889 in 1980 to 490 in 1981. And that was the highest, those were the highest numbers. And Mr. Siaga, 490 in 1981, it came down to 405 1 year. When he did the office in 1989, he handed over murder numbers of 430 to Micheal Manley. And in his first full year, it crossed 500 again for the first time since 1980 when he left office. And that trajectory continued until it peaked at 1,674 in 2005 under PJ Patterson. So almost everything that bad with Jamaica PMP, and I PMP, I don't know how people just sit down and just take the foolishness from them and take them and vote them in the much of the constituencies. They wreck the hospital, they wreck the education system. Look at Cornell Region Hospital. Cornell Region Hospital packed one of the PMP, The JLP built it in the first instance in the 1960s, late 1960s to early 70s. And it stayed and deteriorated under those 18.7 long years that the PMP was there. The JLP rebuilding it now. You understand? So the fact is, the murders are higher under the PMP because they do not resource the security forces and they have their gangsters and their henchmen and their dons that they use to control communities and to do what they feel like. And to extort money from people and to go to a JUTC, go kill off the managing director and to go kill off the permanent secretary and Ted Ogilvy. A long time now, Ted Ogilvy was murdered in 1977 because he stopped the money from going to Magra Gully and Brown and Flash allegedly murdered him when Price right side it and became the top two most wanted men. In Jamaica.
Who is Brown? Who is Brown?
You will know that Anthony Brown, one daughter named Brown.
Is that a politician? No, with that name.
So Anthony Brown.
Is somebody will love the mates.
Let me just tell my audience that Anthony Brown.
To the mates in Parliament. Is she connected to the mates?
Well, let me just tell my audience that Anthony Brown is the father of Angela Brown Burke. You know?
When the lady in the White House, the lady with the White House in and say, I was missed.
All right. So for a minute there, gentlemen, I'm begging a little space so that we can contextualize. Right. So just to bring us back to the murder rate at the time. Right, and I actually bring up a table to help me because I didn't trust my memory so much. In 1970, that was 2 full years before Micheal Manley came into power. The murder numbers was 152. 1971, it was 145, so there was a reduction by 7. In 1972, it went up to when Micheal Manley took power. We saw it jump by 25 more. To 170. The following year, it was 227. You notice the start.
Hold on it. A context again, Understand this, In those days, 25 more than a 1 year. Holy people, based on the numbers,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Because the JLP 1 year, and it's under 100, in the 60s, under 100 1 year. And I don't think it past 150 under JLP, no year at all.
No, it never did. The highest it was under the JLP was 152 in 1970.
Yes.
And then the following year it was reduced to 145.
Yes. I remember those numbers.
That was
you know what would have been interested with those numbers? How much of that was domestic murder?
right.
Like man and woman a fight and all them something and Yeah.
Right. So by 1972, when Michael Manley won, it was 172. And listen to this. The following year, we had an increase of 57 to 227. That's the following year, an increase.
1973.
73. So it moved from 170 in 1972 to 227. That's 57 more murders in 1 year.
Right, so in Michael Manley's first year, for the first time in independent Jamaica, murders crossed 200.
And the Michael
In fact,
what people, hold on, my friend. What people need to know is that what really happened is that Michael Manley unleashes pursuers of the garrison.
Yeah.
Man like fed them up. Became a law unto themselves. Man like Burry Boy.
George Cross and
Far. Right? And all them man there. They were a law unto themselves. I want them to make know much people. PNP bad man murder and them get away with it. Them get away. And that is why you see the murder was going up like that. Go answer.
So as you mentioned now, so by 1973, as I said, it went up to 227. By 74, we had a marginal decline to 195. So it went down by 28. Right? And by 1975, listen to this, it reached 266. So it jumped right.
That will be a new high.
Yes, so it's almost 70. So it's 69 more murders than the year before. Right? And this is contextual. Let me tell you why this was important. Because I remember in 1974, as a little boy living in Jonestown, that's when the cleansing started that Connecting spoke about. Right? I was living in Jonestown.
You lived in Jonestown?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right, so as a little boy.
You're joking.
Hey, it's no flavor I choose to live in. It's no flavor I choose to live in Jonestown. No. I tell you, so was a 50-50 constituency.
Everyone, I tell you this about.
Yeah, well, I remember as a little boy in 1974 living in Jonestown.
Go on, my friend. I want you to touch the numbers.
No, I'm touching the numbers, but I want to give context. And
yes.
the following year, I moved to Montego Bay. Now, as a little boy again, I used to worship Michael Manley, by the way, right? Because my entire family, they were comrades, and they still are comrades to this day, right? So I looked forward to meeting Michael Manley, and I remember he was touring Montego Bay at the time, and I shook his hand, and I saw something. This is not something I heard. Saw with my own eyes. He visited where we were. I won't name the place now. And I just shook his hand, and there was a convoy of tipper body truck for those who are old enough to remember, which is the big truck with the heavy metal back that when it slammed it so loud, boom, right? And I remember a man jump off of the back of that truck with a cane bill machete and chop off a man's foot right in front of the Prime Minister's face, the then Prime Minister Michael Manley. And Michael Manley said or did nothing. I'm not talking, it happened behind his back. It happened in front of his face. And the then Prime Minister Michael Manley did nothing about it. He never even spoke about it. It's almost as if it never took place. Right? And that is what started causing the murder rate to escalate, because everywhere he went with a convoy of people, and he went with a bag of bad men. Right? And that's what started push the murder rate out of hand. And it brings into perspective now even the Tophill situation, which we'll get back to. Right? So by 1976, now, 1975, the murder rate went to 266.
266.
Now, right, 266. So yeah. I'm going to move us from that figure now at that time to tell you
Hold on there. Because you remember we were saying that under the state of emergency, murders increased. So deal with those 2 dates.
I'm going there now. That's where I'm exactly going. So by by 1976 now, which was the time of the state of emergency when he locked up all of his political opponents. Because as Connecting says, that the poll showed that he was going to be swept out of power. And that's when he started. In fact, it showed that even where Colonel Charles was representing again, gentlemen, because that is important to the conversation.
Colonel, that take over Southwest Central. Southwest Central.
No.
Yes,
Biden was at Eastern Centre.
No.
Yes, no, it's in Kingston. He was Connecting.
You're right.
You're right. Remember that?
You're right.
He died, and Wilton Hill won the by-election.
He came to Eastern Centre as 1980.
Yeah.
Right.
1980.
Right, and because of the danger of them losing that constituency, Colonel Charles was locked up for what? 1 year and 8 months or 8 months?
1 year plus. 1 year plus.
One year. He was there for year one.
1 year.
Right.
No, it's another 1 year.
And Babsy was one of those who was locked up and released, but she had to leave Jamaica. She had to promise that she was leaving Jamaica, and that's how she ended up with that
country. He was deported.
Right. Deported out of Jamaica to Canada by Micheal Manley. Right?
I tell you something. One other thing, my friend. One thing, I know that Micheal Manley was a wicked man. And when me tell people say me not like him because I know say him wicked.
I do hate him, but I agree that he was brutal. He was a brutal man.
Wicked. And you know one other thing where this man do when me never forgive him for. Him use trump up charge, lock up Colonel Charles, Babsy, Pat Stevenson, and all them man there. Trump up charge, right? And Colonel wife met a serious accident. And everybody thought it could have been life-threatening. And the man wanted to just go see him wife. And the man could have used security force with him, make him go visit his wife, and then go detain him back, Right? And like say, he was being asked to release the man.
He could go on
the man just wanted to see his wife who suffered a very serious accident. And that wicked man, Micheal Manley, after I know him as the man in a detention and trump up charge, refused to let him go see his wife who everybody thought could have couldn't have made it,
Right.
Wicked man.
Right. So by this figure now is critical. So by 1976, as we spoke about the Colonel lockup and Babsy lockup, plus even another gentleman from Canada, don't remember his name now, that when they found out that he was a Canadian citizen, they released him and let him go.
Miles.
And Michael was locked up on whole heap of other people. Right? Because
Miles was a British citizen.
Oh?
Miles, it was what was his first name? It was Miles, man.
He was a British citizen,
Miles.
Canadian.
Right.
He was a British citizen, and the ambassador said, show us proof, show us the evidence, and release him.
Right.
And they never had no evidence. They never had no evidence, and nobody,
No, we know that. As you rightly stated, there were trumped up charges. So by 1976 now, because of all that was happening, and by the way, that's when firearms started being snuck into Jamaica. A lot of persons don't know. People talk about 1980, but it's 1975, 76 that firearms started being snuck in Jamaica, right? And it's not by the JLP, right? In fact, that's when we saw an influx of Cubans in Jamaica. And we will get back to that with Ulysses Estrada as part of our conversation, right? So by 1976, the murder went up to 368. Some figures said 367, some said 366, some said 368. But it's right in that figure, 1976. Right? Right. So remember where we're coming from, We started out at 152. Right? In fact, Micheal Manley got it at 145. And by 4 years later,
It
it
double.
is
It double.
twice what it was. In fact, more than twice,
It
2.5
double.
times
It
what it
double.
was.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because of the direction that he started taking the country in. In fact, the Brigadista program that was alluded to by connecting had a great deal to a great role to play in it. Because in addition to the original set of criminals that he had around him, there was now a state-sponsored, a government-sponsored criminal element training. And the reason I call them criminal element training because you had men who were not a part of the regular law enforcement who were now being given paramilitary training. And for those who may not understand what that means is that they were given training that was equal to the police force and a little better too. Right? For no reason at all.
If I might add, you know, coming from the book, the one thing, which was written by a brigadista, the curriculum for the brigadista was to weapons training, how to keep and carry weapon, to the target shooting, but also how to rob banks. And
don't forget about how to make bombs, you know.
Molotov cocktail, and how to free comrades out of prison. How to break people out of prison, but critically, how to rob banks. And one of the things is that when Sierra took over, there was a spate of bank robbery. But that's another matter. Continue, my friend.
So the PNP was training a paramilitary unit then in case they needed to overthrow the state. That what I say?
All right.
That was a part of it.
Hold on there. Don't continue yet. Because I meant to mention it that the reason why they pivot to the Brigadista program, they employ the Brigadista strategy, was because the Green Bay massacre failed. Because what they wanted to do.
What was the Green Bay massacre for those who don't know, Darlan?
Yeah, man, it was when you had MIU guy, military intelligence unit, who was one of the army.
No, you have to break it down to. You say you're not just speaking to those who are learned in these things. You have to break it down to the common man level.
Yes, I agree. And but so the Brigadista, because we really they came up with this.
No, hold on. Since you mentioned Green Bay, don't just over.
No. Yeah, man. I misspoke. I meant the Green Bay massacre. They turned to the Green Bay massacre because Micheal realized him going to lose the election. Carlstone Paul tell him saying can't win. Right? And him remember 76 state of emergency. And the people say, never again. The people were not going to stand up in a state of emergency like the bogus one that came in 76. So what he was doing, the Green Bay massacre was designed to stage, to give the impression that serious insurgency was being planned. Right? So what they did was to use the military intelligence unit to go into Raytown, into Micheal Manley's own constituency, but into the labor rights section, and go invite youths to come to be employed. They were going to pretend that they were being given jobs. $350 US.
Wow.
$350 US per week.
That's enough money the entire man.
I think. I want money per money every day we are done for it.
No. A Jamaican dollar. The Green Bay massacre, you see, was 1970.
Yeah. Okay, fine. But that time, 350 was like the US dollar. The equivalent was almost.
All right. Let's clarify. So, when I graduated from Port Royal, you see, 1980, early 1980, my pay for the month was less than $400 a month. That is so strong, $200 a week, Jamaican dollar was.
Yep.
My
right. So they were promised.
Let me support your argument. One moment there, Darlan. Let me support your argument. security guard up until 1988. And I went to what I like to refer to as my first real job, working with the Azans. And my pay in 1989 was $158 a week, which was just about $600 a month. So it tells you, it tells you the quality of the money. I used to get 5 cents for my lunch money and fare to go to school in 1975. 5 cents.
So that is what? That is the inducement that was offered, right? Tell these guys, them intersperse it to go out to try and trap them into criminality. To go on, like say they were going to go guard contrabands, right? Then that is the thing them say they were going to guard contraband and like weed and them something there. But anyway, they were offered $350, which was a huge amount of money at the time, and them show interest in the thing.
Enough money that.
And then the plan was to take the youth them to go meet the boss. To go meet the boss. And then they came with 2 ambulances and some other vehicle to carry the man them to go meet the boss.
That is what they told them, right?
Right. It was 14 of them. Them was trying to recruit, 14 of them, right? And them said, we'll take you for go meet the boss now. And the man, everybody come. And so when some of the Rasta man them come and see him, said, I'm not driving an ambulance. They're not driving an ambulance. So that is how it's just 10 of them end up go Green Bay. And let me tell you something, my brother. You see, if all 10 were murdered, Jamaica would not be a free country today. I can tell you that we have to give thanks that 5 of them was able to escape, run through all kind of town and ticket.
Wow.
And come tell the tale.
Wow.
Right? Because if those 10 guys were murdered, you would have seen the army drive through Kingston full of weapons. That them fine. That them fine.
And
right?
for those who don't know where Green Bay is, that section of Portmore where the little place known as Rodney's Arms is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
where the Forum Hotel.
It's a military firing range. It's a military firing range.
Right. That's where they call Green Bay for those who don't know.
Muddy Perkins interview one of the fellows in Westgate. And that fellow ran through some thick. I was trained in Green Bay, I went over there to kill gas and everything to kill the police. And I saw those cactus. Then flicking up. Yeah. And the youth, when they run through the cactus, you see no cactus, much is in flesh or torn by the cactus, You find wing and fly to cactus. Saving life. That's save the day.
Wow.
And jump off in the water.
Jamaican people don't know how wicked Micheal Manley is. Because me tell a man say.
But darling, you leave a very important part of the equation,
What?
The part where Micheal Manley was the member of parliament.
Wait, I'll come to that.
Yes.
Not only that, he was the Minister of Defense. The army answered to him.
As Prime Minister, he's not only the Minister of Defense.
Right? So the army answered to him. And any unit under the army must answer to him. He must know what these units are doing. And the military intelligence unit, because the military intelligence unit is supposed to go and go collect intelligence and insurgency and military activity and them something,
So,
and these guys, what this MIU was doing was to go stage thing.
question.
And you want to tell me, say, the MIU could have taken it up on them own head to go pick up Micheal Manley constituents. Even though they're labored, you can't go into the Prime Minister constituency. Go take up man.
The Minister
of Defense. Say half of them work. And carry them go Green Bay. Go slaughter them. And if 5 never get to it, 10 of them would have been killed. So and you want to tell me, say, Micheal Manley never know about that?
So, Mr. Dolan, I have a question for panel, for all three of you.
Before before you finish there, host, beg you a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Let me just finish with the numbers, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So by 1976, as we stated, that was the count then, right? And I want to also give a little more context because by 1976 it was 367. We had a marginal decline in 1979 to 351. But because of what they had intended to accomplish in 1980, the reason we saw the murder rate.
Wait. Back up there, man. You miss a year, man. You gave us what the number was 75.
No, man, I went to 75, 260 something. Right?
Yeah, you went for 400, you know.
No, man,
no, darling, I never reached 400.
No,
under the state of emergency, what was the year? In
367.
No, that was 76. That was 76.
No. Right.
What was it, 77?
No, I didn't have that number. But there's a graph.
Yeah, because I remember seeing now it went to 400.
All right, let me go to the graph. There's a graph that I can use to pick it up.
Yeah,
right?
Funny graph. So let me ask the question in the meantime while Uncle Josh look for.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
So no one asks you know, you guys would have grown up in that time, or you guys were young men at that time. Was Micheal Manley trying to move the Jamaican system from capitalism to communism? Because PNP like to say it is democratic socialism and it was not communism.
So we're going to go back to it because that's in and of itself is a brand new discussion and it varied and wide. All right, so Darlan was right. It was 405 in 1977. Darlan was right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, 405 in 1977. So by Darlan, we apologize to you, sir.
Wait. Can you tell me your name? I hate to.
Darlan. Oh, you don't know my name, Darlan?
Joshua.
No, man. Me not put no face to the voice, man. Just call a name for me.
Joshua, Uncle.
Let me address.
Joshua, man.
Oh, Joshua. Oh, yeah. All right, Joshua. Joshua, here's the thing. The context of the matter. You see, what the murder rate was in 75, and then where it ended up in 77, it showed the number of people that the comrades under the direction of Micheal Manley, Tony Spalding, and D.K. Duncan, the number of people that were being slaughtered.
But this is why I started.
In operation.
So I believe that all of us are on the same page. That is why I started from as early as 1971, just before he got into power. Because that was the whole aim, to show the context where it was being taken from under Micheal Manley to where it ended up. That is why I started there. Because I wanted the public to really see for themselves that, listen, this wasn't by no means an accident. It wasn't just domestic disputes which caused it. This was something that was clearly as a result of the agitation of the then Prime Minister and his facilitation. So both agitation and facilitation. Right? Yes. By the way, I had family members, not blood. It's my sister's family who were involved in some of these things. I will leave it right there so that I don't expose people. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, man. It was awful. The Jamaican people don't understand how we just dodged the bullet.
Hold on. So by 1978, we were at 381. Right? So by 1980 now, which was the critical year, and I was trying to make a greater point here. The reason it got to that point in 1980, and there's a very significant incident which took place and almost plunged the country into total chaos, which I'm going to leave for last, in 1980. By 1980, it went to 889. And the reason for that, because the PNP was trying to hang on for dear life, and part of the strategy, as Darlan started out by saying originally was that them is not Darland is connecting, is that the PNP as a philosophy is that we must win at all costs and any cost. We must maintain state power by all cost and any cost. And that includes taking lives. School children at one point in time, even though this is not exactly related, but it's connected, were cut out of their school uniform. St. Hugh's High School had to change their school uniform from green and yellow to blue and yellow because PNP was cutting the school children out of their school uniform. That's how bad it was. In 1980, 3 of us as little boys were sitting down, Craig Rodney and myself, right? And PNP shut after us. Little boy who don't have nothing to do with politics. And PNP shut after us. I can't forget them things there because they're etched in my mind. And in 1980, they attempted to assassinate Edward Siaga. They shoot at them. There was a picture on the front page of the Green. You remember that connecting on Darland? And Trinity.
In what house?
Was it Waterhouse or King Street downtown?
Waterhouse.
Tonight when them pepper them from East Kingston Street, that's the way.
It's Waterhouse because them think them could have get all the times in 75 voting win by 1980, you know.
All the times,
yeah.
Manley win by 200.
Right? No, guys, this is very critical because a year after the election, 1980, it went to 889. And a year after the election, it went down to 449 or 413. What was the number to be exact? I'm connecting. Let me check the graph.
490 in 1981.
No, man. No, it went down very low in 1980, 81 because I checked it and it was almost the same as the figure that Darland had asked about.
Yeah, man, it went back down to about 400 and something.
All right, so by 1982, I'm on the graph now, the Jamaica Constabulary Force website. By 1982, it went down to 405.
Yes, but 81 was 490, I think. Check that.
81. So I'm going back to the graph now. All right. The graph is kind of funny. Let me see if I can enlarge it. All right. Good. 490. So you're correct, sir. You're spot on.
Yeah. And then 405.
Right. So
405 was the lowest. Was the lowest under Siaga regime.
Right. So let us look at the final year, which is 1988, when Mr. Siaga lost, to show you.
No, you have to look you have to look at 88.
All right. So
the PNP was February 89. So you can look at 89 because the PNP was.
Yeah, I think you said 88. I think that was said 88.
434?
No. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, 88 would be a good
yeah, man.
A good metric to use, eh?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, because February to December will be 10 months. That will be PNP by then.
And that time to distort the numbers.
Yeah, man. So you have to look at 88. 88 was 434 or something like that. Speaking from memory.
All right, so 414, 1988.
414 is correct. Yeah, correct. 414. That's what.
Right. 414 in 1988, and we have to make good context. I want to go 1990. So we are coming from, what did I just say? 400 how much?
14.
414, and by 1990, which is just 2 years later, we were at 542. So you see the trend on the PNP every time PNP take power, starting with Micheal Manley. This is what we have to deal with, right? Is that murder? And by 1993, we were at 654. Let us go up further. By 1995, we were at 780. By 1999, we were at 849. So you notice we're climbing. An endless climb. By 2001, for the first time, which is just 12 years after the PNP took over, we were at 1,000 murders.
Joshua.
Yes, sir.
I think the first time we crossed the 1,000 threshold was in 1997. Double check that. 1997. And I want you to look at something for me again. There were several years.
We're connected. And you need to emphasize, and Jamaica people need to know why. The reason why you see murder take that steep climb under PNP is because under PNP, the rule of law don't mean nothing.
We start in Parliament. We start in Parliament Tuesday, and they're still making excuses for their unruly ways.
From your PNP bad man, you commit murder and you get away with it. Because Tony Welch kill a guy, you know. Tony Welch murder youth, you know, sitting under the OC up Stony Hill here, stab him, kill him. And them try him 2 times. And he get away. And that guy live out him life. A free man after him commit murder, and everybody knows him commit the murder. But that's what happens. PNP can do all kind of wrongs and get away with it.
So 2 things I want to mention before we go to the host question. When Mr. Siaga took office in 1980, he deported the Cuban ambassador to Jamaica, Ulysses Estrada. I'm throwing it over to you, gentlemen, to tell the listeners why the Cuban ambassador was deported. What happened? It's over to you, gentlemen.
No, Ulysses Estrada, he was a big guy in the DJI, the Cuban Secret Service. The Secret Service, the secret agent operation. Ulysses Estrada. He was high-ranking DJI man, and he came to Jamaica to make sure that Jamaica came home to the Cuban camp, right? That was his purpose, and he was interfering in the affairs of the country, right? During 1980, I don't know if you guys know about the Moonex thing.
All right. All right. So a quick Google while you continue. You are right and I'm right. It says Ulysses Estrada, 1934 to 2014. That is how long he lived. Was a Cuban intelligence officer and a diplomat who served as the Cuban ambassador to Jamaica from 1978 to 1980.
So Uncle
His tenure was marked by intense political controversy during a period of high ideological tension between Jamaica's 2 main political parties. But continue, sir. I just wanted to contextualize it.
Before you go, Mr. Dolan, hold on. You know, the PNP like to sing about CIA and CIA interfering. No, Ulysses, what do you name? Ulysses Estrada was there, and he was a Cuban henchman, and he was present. Did we have an equivalent in the CIA in Jamaica?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Dolan.
Yeah. So when Siaga took over, and you had the Terror murder, Fatis, Anthony Brown, Yard Flash, the man go take out Terror Gilvey. And Terror Gilvey was a comrade, you know. He used to teach him son. Father a comrade. And the man them go murder the man because the man, Micheal, sent him to go stem the bleeding, the financial bleeding of the McGregor Gully scheme. The Jamaica people, you PNP in a parliament harass and own with party, with MPs them, the Prime Minister and the DLP supporter. I talk about transparency and accountability. You know what happened on the McGregor Gully, $1 million was being burned a week time, you know. And you know things like what it burn on? You have one truck with carrying 10 stone.
No, I don't think it was 1 million. I think badmen were being given, I think one badman was being given $8,000 a week. Jamaican dollar, because
no. This was I see as a president this, and see as not talking in talk precise. They were burning $1 million per week on the McGregor Gully scheme. That was a lot of money then, right? And no work was being done. And I just going to show you how the money was being burnt. Because a man used to come in and you have a truck. And then the truck driving a load of stone. And the load was like 10 stone. And then another truck take up the same 10 stone and carry it back off. So the one driving get paid for driving it in. The one take it up and carry it off, get paid for taking it up and carry it off. And then maybe the same truck or another truck carrying back the same 10 load of stone, you know. So you will have like 100 trips. Trucks making 100 trips. And you can't see more than the 10 stone to the McGregor Gully. That is how them was milking the system, you know. And when Micheal think them a go too hard, Micheal, it embarrass even Micheal himself. And Micheal sending Teddo Gilvey to go stem the bleeding. Right? And Micheal issue a couple things and so a couple others. And Badman vex about it. Anthony Brown vex about it. Flash vex about it. And them and they go and them take out Teddo Gilvey. Murder Teddo Gilvey. And the men were held and were before the court. And I don't remember if they were held. They were named. They were wanted for murder.
Runway, man.
Right.
They were held and represented by two former high-ranking PNP. One of them later became the Attorney General.
I don't remember what happened. I don't remember if they were held. I know they were wanted. But what happened? What happened? And to answer why Estrada was sent home, persona non grata, is because Cuba extend the helping hand to these murderers. And they were able to go to Cuba. And they were there for 10 years. And they came back and lived normal lives in Jamaica under PNP. You understand? No. Let me tell you just how dangerous the PNP is. I want Jamaica people listen good. Here you have 3 men who murdered Teddo Gilvey and wanted for murder. And them know say if Siaga they try them the neck they pop because Siaga is still a pop neck. Right? And you had people within the PNP who helped these 3 wanted men escape to Cuba. And when I tell people, what I say to people, I know politics work, I know diplomacy work. No handling. No man were in charge of no area council or no regional chairman couldn't take up the phone and call Fidel Castro and say, I said, 3 bad men come for you take care of them.
Micheal Manley had to do it.
Castro won't take no call from the regional chairman.
Yep.
You understand me? Castro probably wouldn't even take no call from the Minister of Defense, of Security.
Yep.
Castro would to take call from Micheal Manley. I'm sure say, and Micheal Manley call Castro and say, we have three man where we need to put in a safe location. And the man them go to Cuba. I was there for 10 years. I lived off of the Cuban government. Right? And don't tell me, say, Cuba just do it so. Without a man take up a phone and call the big top dog of Cuba and tell him what to do. And the top dog of Cuba now go take no call from the regional chairman. The regional chairman couldn't run the program there.
That's why Manley did afraid so when him dead. He afraid for me to make, because I remember all the wickedness them do.
All right, we can. Yeah, man. So people need to understand how evil and how devious the man there was. You understand me? And that is why, and that's a plug out. That is why, when Eddie Siaga found out, because them get all of the letter with them write and all of the thing, you know, them write to them people and those things were intercepted, and Eddie Siaga found out that the guys were in Cuba and they must have been facilitated by the Cuban ambassador, and him just cut ties with Cuba and send and made you will see the Strada persona non grata, and he had to go back home.
By the way, the term persona non grata, for those who may not understand, it is a term which simply means you're not welcome.
Yep.
You know, so and it is not only applied to foreigners, but if you're a person who was born in our country and you were considered to be an embarrassment to the country, right? And you're being deported from another country to your country of birth, your own government can refuse to take you. Right? That is exactly, by the way, that Father Manley did for Marcus Garvey. Refused to accept Marcus Garvey in Jamaica.
So Marcus Garvey had to live in exile in another man's country.
Right. So when you hear PNP talking about...
Wait. I'm learning something here. So that is how Garvey ended up in England?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
Say that again. Say Father Man refused him to come back to Jamaica.
Yeah, man, refused to take him to Jamaica, man. And he never have no country to go to.
Yeah, man. So you never go to the motherland.
Yeah, man.
Other people know say it was Norman Manley who sued Garvey and win him at the case at the court of first instance. And before the man could appeal the thing, Norman Manley started to liquidate Garvey property. Into everything when he could have sell it. And the funny thing is that Garvey won at the court of second instance, otherwise called the appeal court. Garvey appealed the thing, the judgment, and he won. Albeit maybe on some technicality, but he won. And Norman Manley should never have liquidated the man asset. But before the ink could dry on the judgment of the first case, the man started selling Garvey asset. And that is why Garvey did poor in England.
All right, so I want to mention two things, even though it's not related. I will still want to answer the host question. It was Norman Manley, after Edward Siaga wanted to bring Garvey's body back to Jamaica, that just like how the PNP is against Nara now, it was Norman Manley and the PNP that was against the return of Garvey's body to Jamaica. Even after he died, Norman Manley didn't want back his body in Jamaica. Right? You hear PNP like to talk about, and darling, I'm going to send you the newspaper article.
Me and Mark
right?
and Marcus all the while. Mark Golding attack about Marcus.
Right. So you hear PNP blaming Buster for locking up Rasta. I have the newspaper article where Norman, mind you, he was right, don't get me wrong. Let me side with the then premier. It was Norman Manley first that locked up Rasta in Jamaica.
Yep.
And he locked them up because they were gathering weapons to overthrow the government at the time.
They were unruly.
Right. So I'm not going to blame him this time, even though he was the one that did it first. And then he lost shortly afterwards, and then Buster continued because of the rebellion. Right? So we have to contextualize things, and PNP like to, when it's not popular, instead of standing up and say, boy, we did this because of this and we thought that it was right, them seek to point finger to the Labour Party and say, no, I didn't do it on a week. That's not how the argument goes. Connecting, I'm going to send you the newspaper article, Darlan and
was it in the 1950s? Was it in the 1950s that it
was 1950s.
1960.
50 something.
50s.
50s, in the 50s.
No, well, there was an insurrection, in 1960,
And it came to in 1963. It came to in 1963.
When Claudius Henry was the leader of the rest of them time there.
That's in my Norman laptop.
And you had an insurrection there, where 4 British soldiers got shot, 2 of them died.
But
right?
During the other insurrection,
sorry, connecting. Hold on, for those who may be able to find it, because Gleaner has been deleting the article, let me tell you what to look for if you have access to Gleaner archive, for those who are listening. The title of it, Manley warns Rastafarians, for those who have access. And it says, UC report government plan for mission, no license to do as they like. No country will accept people who flout law. And it says that, and the caption was the PM. It was really referring to Norman at the time, even though he was not PM, he was Premier. Right? So, just telling you, if you have access to the Gleaner archive and they have not yet deleted it, that's what you can look for.
But the only good thing what we know Norman did was to give Buster support during the 63 uprising rebellion.
Right.
Because Norman Buster supported him.
Right.
In 1960.
Right, because in the 50s, when he had to lock up the Rastas, right, and Buster supported him, when it was Buster turn now, it would look bad if him was supported. But PNP used it afterwards as election material from 70 now for surprise. Is labor right, do this to Rasta, and labor right, do that to Rasta, and not talking the context by which they was locked up.
Them still I say till this day.
The only thing that was done wrong was them trim the Rasta man them. Yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only thing. But detaining them, even if they detain 200 of them because 3 people were murdered, nothing wrong with that. You don't know which one of them committed murder, so you run up all of them.
Right.
So rounding them up was not the problem. It was the trimming of them beard and then cutting of them locks.
In that uprising, 2 policemen died, and one was seriously injured.
Yeah, man, the gas station operator was killed.
Yes, and gas station lit a fire. Rasta light gas station down there and kill police and kill gas station operator and create havoc down there. And police
connecting. Before we run out of time, the host asked a question from 1944 I want to answer.
Yes.
Was the then Prime Minister, Micheal Manley, changing Jamaica to communism, which he labeled as democratic socialism, or was it just socialism alone?
Well, I want to address that.
Yeah, go ahead.
DK Duncan himself, because these guys were the pioneer for the destruction of Jamaica. DK Duncan himself said that the word democracy before democratic socialism was sugarcoating. It was sugarcoating. So therefore, what they really wanted was socialism. And people can tell a person, the character of a person by looking at the friends the person keeps, right? And although PNP want like the democratic socialism that they were intended and pursuing was Fabian socialism, like the Labour Party socialism of Britain, or like the Denmark and Norway and Sweden. They tried to give the impression that was the kind of socialism they were pursuing. But nevertheless, they never asked one of those leaders to come address them conference.
It was Stalin socialism, and Lenin.
Right?
Leninism.
They never asked one Fabian socialist, not even a British socialist. They never asked to come address one of them conference or them believe any special relationship with those people. Right?
All right.
They had special relationship with Samora Micheal, with Fidel Castro from Cuba, and with, of course, with the Soviet Union.
Exactly. So then they pursue Stalin and where next man called Where man before Stalin? Carl.
Brezhnev. You mean Brezhnev?
Brezhnev.
No, man. Just,
Brezhnev.
not the other one. His counterpart.
Where?
When Carl again?
No, man, not
Fabian,
not Joseph Stalin, the other one.
Not Stalin.
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx. Marxism. Marxism.
Oh, Lenin.
Yeah, man. Marxism. Because I hear Michael Manley quote Karl Marx already. You know, me hear Mark Golin talk about Marxism. Not Mark Golin, Michael Manley. Me hear Michael Manley talk about Marxism in a interview before. So they were going to go communist, I believe. I don't know who to believe, but that's what I believe.
All right.
And then talk about scientific socialism and all them thing.
Hold on. So hold on there, Lord. So Dujon.
Yes.
I know of a fact, and as I told you, I have family. I'm not going to say much, right? And I know of a fact that they were pursuing communism, right? And in addition to that, for those who want to find information, go to CIA.gov and type in Jamaica's communist inroads in opposition party, right? And it spoke about Michael Manley and Trevor Monroe and D.K. Duncan and their trust to put Jamaica, to bring Jamaica into communism. Right? Michael Manley only changed his voice and changed the words when he realized that even people within his own party was beginning to talk against it. The three persons who were fully behind it was Michael Manley, D.K. Duncan, and Trevor Monroe. These were the radicals.
Tony Spalding was up in arms in it too.
I believe they had 3 men called the 3H something, you know, that wanted communism as well.
That was earlier. That was on a Norman Manley.
Okay, that was on
the 4 H's. The 4 H's.
4 H's, okay.
Yeah, that's what the 4 H's. Kenny Land, Frankie Land, Rupert Hart, and another guy named Henry.
Okay.
Yeah. Kenny was
so communism
the leader of the National Reform Association, NRA.
If it comes
National Reform Association.
It was deeply rooted in our party, then correcting the dots. If it comes from so far.
I want to give my perspective uninterrupted and the question that you asked.
All right, go ahead, correcting the dot.
There is an abundance of evidence that the PNP was aligned and up in the communist orbit in the 1970s, going up to 1980 before Mr. Siaga won that election. There is absolutely no doubt about it. There is enough evidence here to prove that. What's his name? Trevor Monroe declared himself. He said, "I'm a communist." He formed a communist party, the Workers' Party of Jamaica. He was very close with Michael Manley himself and D.K. Duncan before that election. Darlan mentioned it before. Anthony Spalding was another hardliner. Carl Roshan Thompson, he was the MP for where Dr. Wallace is now. Roy McGann, another hardliner. Dudley Thompson, so hardliner. There was the Brigadista program that the PNP sent men to Cuba to be trained in military and paramilitary operations. I encountered as a policeman in Kingston Eastern, in Michael Manley's constituency. At the time, the name of the constituency was East Central Kingston. A part of Eastern Kingston was on the constituency and Central Kingston. And I would encounter men who were highly trained in shootouts in Dunkirk, parts of Wellington Town, Franklin Town, and those areas, which was in the constituency of Michael Manley at the time. These men knew how to make Molotov cocktail bombs. They would remove the manual covers from out of the street and leave them exposed. So you drop down inside there and chop off at the front end of your vehicle and then pepper you and corner you. I saw them after they got rid of all the street lights in those areas. There was no street light, they corner them out, fire bullet and shoot them out. And then they also burn some chemical. I don't know what it is. Some people say it's tire, but it's not tire. I know tire smoke. Some dark soot, black smoke. And if I tire, you don't smell it. Maybe something can run Cuba. and that they use as cover. The movements, they try to surround you when you are in exchange of fire with them. And they were trained, these men were highly trained. And I strongly believe that they were trained in Cuba, in the Brigadista program. The Home Guard program, again, there were hundreds of Home Guards at the police station. And they would get their PMP, so get police to be in charge of them. I don't know what they were doing. Everything was in secret. So when Seaga won the election, the very night of the election, in his acceptance speech, he declared he drove Ulysses Estrada out of the island. And Darlan mentioned something very important, this Moonex cache of 200,000 rounds were found in a container. And the incumbent Minister of National Security, he was one of the hardliners to the Thompson. You know what he said? That the ammunitions were for the purpose of shooting birds and rabbits. That's what Donald Thompson told the nation, told Jamaica in 1980 when they found the Moonex. 200,000 rounds in a one container. To shoot bird, with all of us on bird and rabbit. You can go on the internet and find it. Moonex, the Moonex container. And Estrada was very close to Donald Thompson. In fact, both of them were seen leaving Jamaica on a plane to Cuba. And Donald Thompson had a newspaper covering his face. That picture came in the front page of the Gleaner. With Donald Thompson covering his face with the newspaper. So the role of the Cubans, they built 2 schools and a college. They built Osemati and
Connecting. Just to correct something there. Donald Thompson was on a private jet with a newspaper covering face. Is Rupert Hart.
Rupert Hart was it?
The captain for the Moonex ship.
Was it him?
He was taken out of the country.
My bad. I speak it from memory. I welcome correction.
The man who imported 200-ton rounds of shotgun bullet into the country.
I saw the drones.
It was assaulted.
Most the shotgun.
Anyway, it was Rupert Hart, man.
I agree with you.
I am Minister of National Security, escorted him out of the country.
Minister of National Security, the PMP Minister of National Security, escorted him out. And they just took over 200,000 rounds.
The in
Jamaica. So that relationship between the Cubans and the PMP was just too close for comfort. So Mr. Seaga, in his acceptance speech, run away the Cuban ambassador and close the Cuban embassy. And for that entire period that Mr. Seaga was in power, there was no Cuban, until the doctors were here, our medical personnel. The program was suspended until the PMP came back. So if you want to know more about the Cuban, the Brigadista program, read the book, The Road Not Taken by a guy named Martin. The Road Not Taken. That fellow was one of the Brigadistas who was trained in Cuba, and he came back, and apparently his conscience pricked him, and he decided, I'm not doing anything with it. And he wrote a book explaining everything that he did in Cuba. And the book is entitled The Road Not Taken. The PNP has been labeled as a dangerous, corrupt, cultist, criminal organization. And it's difficult for anyone not to believe that. It's difficult for somebody like me, who served law enforcement in Jamaica for decades, and I've been watching them. I've been watching the 2 of them. I've been watching the JLP and the PMP closely. Because I was once a supporter of the People's National Party.
Connecting to that, when people talk about corruption and talk about the JLP being corrupt, the PNP was so inherently corrupt. That is how Jamaica got on so much grey and blacklist, because of the PNP.
Yes. But as you mentioned, that the present rating that we have by the International Rating Agency, Transparency International, is 44. And it's the best rating that we have had ever.
Yeah.
And I believe that had it not been for some of these PMP corruption allegations that they are wrapped up in opposition, we'll get a better grade too.
Yeah.
With the whole scandal with the Paris Pounds and the whole scandal with Jack Den and the whole scandal. The PMP has racked up several allegations, corruption allegations in opposition.
And
can you imagine the power, man?
And the coup that they try with the IC,
With the IC.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? So hold on. One second there. 1 second. This was where I was going, when I started in 1976, coming right back to last year with the IC, The PMP, listen, man, in 1976, the incumbent Minister of National Security signed blank detention orders, gave it to their surrogate in the police force and in the JDF. We went around and then PMP supporters would point out labor rights and they would just fill in the names and lock them up. They had the laborers going up and down all over the place, They locked up election day workers, do an election day, and release them after the poll closed. That's what they did. And they came back now, using the integrity corruption case down there, to try and tarnish the Prime Minister. To win the election last year, they have been beating and battering and polarizing him about corruption. And because they know that most of the people don't understand, and some of them don't even care to understand, and they are telling lies and lies and lies. Let me tell you something. I have been a detective for quite a few years. And the moment I heard that the international forensic audit was not furnished to the parliament, was not provided to the parliament, me used to go like donkey. Say no man, something wrong.
Yeah.
And even if you're not an investigator, you have common sense. Why are they hiding you spend $38 million to employ the services of auditors, forensic auditors, and you submit your report to the parliament? Why didn't the IC hand over that specific report that you pay $38 million of my money for, our money for, to the parliament so that they know? Only to find out that no, the Prime Minister did not have 28 bank accounts. That report showed that the Prime Minister had 8 bank accounts and 28. And I will Jamaican believe I know. I know you come and talk about the Prime Minister Saturday declaration not 35. I don't know why not 35. Yeah, the Prime Minister not 35. Somebody even went go as far to say that the Prime Minister not submitting in Saturday declaration. And some people believe them, some people are listen good and think. The man submit every single Saturday declaration since in the government and since it's required. The next point is the IC Director of Investigation, recommended to the Director of Corruption and Prosecution, that is the person who was supposed to charge Mr. Owens, that he be charged. You know, they recommend the charges for 4 bank accounts, 2 for his mother, 1 for his father, and 1 for his farmer, office manager. And I need to explain that. One of the mother's bank account was taken out in 1974 when Dr. Owens was 2 years old, a little baby. Right? And his name was added to the account for survivorship, that his mother died and get the money. The next one was taken out when he was a teenager, his mother won. Father had 1 for him. And the next one was the office manager when he just became a member of parliament. He told her to take out his bank account and he named in the account too. For her to be paid her salary. The account has not been used for 20 years before the IC started investigating. He told Jamaican the line. No allegations have been made that any money passing through them. We're not supposed to go through them. Just that he didn't remember to declare them on his asset declaration. Because you remember them. If you remember take out account for you when you are 2 years old, you really remember that they are Prime Minister. You can't remember that. And the Director of Corruption and Prosecution rightly ruled that he cannot be charged for it. And from I saw that as an investigator, that the only charge they could refer him for was this 4 bank account, 2 for his mother, 1 for his father. They said, rubbish that. Yeah, and people must have sense. People stop going to buy that.
Rubbish.
But people stop fool them.
Rubbish.
Nonsense, rubbish. People must have sense and think. Either you think or others have to think for you and take power from you. This is not my quotation. This is a quotation by a man named F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I will repeat it. Either you think or others have to think for you and take power from you. End of quote. F. Scott Fitzgerald. That's his quote.
So,
and I look somebody else to continue.
Connecting with that, we've gone over 2 hours now. We want to wrap up. So we hear last final words from you guys. I mute Uncle Darlan and Uncle Joshua, so now I have to unmute if you don't hear me. And we get some final thoughts and then we have to wrap up.
We're hearing you, sir. We're hearing you.
Yeah, man.
All right. So I want to say something that came to my attention. And this came from directly within the IC. And this came from directly within the IC. Dornan, what I found out is that the PNP. Dornan, you have to mute your mic. I know where to go. Right. So I found out that what the PNP has been doing, in addition to the fact that they did not renew Prince Jamaica contract at the IC, I found out that what the PNP has been doing is cleansing the IC, not just at the top level, but even at the clerical level, of anyone who does not support the People's National Party because of the agenda that they have. I also have suspicions, not any concrete evidence about this section part, this second part, that what the PNP has been doing was using persons who work at the IC to have social media lives, to have discussions like these, that pretending like they are concerned citizens, both on TikTok, YouTube, platforms like these, to have discussions like these, pretending like they are concerned citizens in relation to the Prime Minister's statutory declaration, because they have an agenda. They are not finished yet, and they intend to go after him as it gets closer to the election. So keep your ears open.
Of course.
Having said that, I said something when I started earlier, which I hope to close with. Every possible obstruction to development in Jamaica and every possible corruption in Jamaica can be traced back to the PNP. Let us start with the obstruction to development. When the McGregor Gully was supposed to be built in Kingston, PNP was against it, for those who come from Kingston. And they called the then government Gully government. For those who are from Kingston and St. Andrew, they know when rain falls heavily, it's chaos in Kingston. And if it is so with the gully to take off these water, just imagine before the gully came, what would have happened. And PNP was against it. When NIS was supposed to be created, PNP called it sin and ridiculed the then government of the JLP. When Portmore was supposed to be created, PNP ridiculed it and said that government of the day wanted to take them over and drown them off in a swampland. Right? When the Mandela Highway was supposed to be built originally, PNP opposed it because it was supposed to be a 6-lane highway. PNP criticized it and opposed it, and they had to reduce it to a 2-lane highway. 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. Right? Well, it wasn't 2 on one side, it was 2, 1 on one side and 1 on the other side, with the media, until Bruce came and widened it. But it was supposed to be much wider than that, because the government of the day had the foresight to see what was coming. And there are other instances, and now Nara is not any different. The PNP was in opposition. The PNP also opposed the creation of New Kingston and Oterius. Now, as it relates to all forms of, so that is obstruction. As it relates to corruption and crime and political tribalism, we saw what the data showed, the rise on the PNP of murder. But what we didn't talk about was the slide of the Jamaican dollar. When Micheal Manley took over, the Jamaican dollar was stronger than the US. By the time Micheal Manley took over, it was 550 to 1 in favor of the US dollar. So the US dollar was 5.5 times stronger, 5 times and 10% stronger than the Jamaican dollars. Right? In addition to that, we can look at many other things. The first time that Dunman was a public associated with a political party was under the PNP with Micheal Manley. The first time that people were beaten because of their political affiliation was under the PNP with Micheal Manley. The first time people's lives were being taken because of their political affiliation was under Micheal Manley. The first time people were obstructed from exercising their political rights was under Micheal Manley. The first time that people were sought out and run out of community or beaten because of politics was under Micheal Manley. First time that school children, and the only time in Jamaica that school children were cut out of their uniforms because of the color of the uniform was under Micheal Manley. The only time in Jamaica that the Minister of Finance, which is David Core, Cat Core Daddy, I don't mean to tarnish Cat Core name, that was not the intention, ran away with the NIR, the Net International Reserve, was under Micheal Manley. The first time that anybody in government life was taken because of corruption associated with politics and political henchmen was under Micheal Manley. The first time that we scrap a national bus system, JOS, under Micheal Manley. And we could go on and on the list. Every bad thing can be traced back to Micheal Manley. Right? And I'm saying to you that the PNP has not changed. In fact, they have gotten worse today. In fact, the first time that the mace, which is now in the news, was ever troubled was in 1968 under the PNP and 1969 again under the PNP. Mace in Parliament, which is really a breach of the House rules and protocols. I hear the PNP trying to spin the narrative and to put a new narrative out there to say we must get rid of the vestiges of colonialism. But this was the same PNP who campaigned on black man time now. And is campaigning hard for a white man to rule us. And forget that that white man is a representation of the vestiges of colonialism. And I'm saying that the PNP cannot be trusted in any way whatsoever. The first time inflation ran away, the first time we have lost 44,000 businesses, first time we had brain drain, the first time we had capital flight, people run out of them house under Micheal Manley. First time we ever had runaway interest rates under the PNP. And we could go on and on, but for another half a while I could take you through. The PNP is not good for Jamaica. And most of this started under Micheal Manley. That man that they presented to you that he was a good man, what Micheal Manley was good at was talking and getting into his friends' wives' underwear. Outside of that, he couldn't do anything else. And I'm saying to you, if Jamaica is to grow and to develop and to reach anywhere meaningful and productive, the PNP must remain in opposition perpetually. Because the PNP never make any promise that they keep. First time we went to IMF because we were broke was under Micheal Manley. The first time that we had a minus NIR was under Micheal Manley. So folks, you've heard from the other two gentlemen and you've heard from the host. And I really want to thank them for the opportunity to share with them and share with the host. Because I live to protect Jamaica as a concerned and a patriotic Jamaican. And if it costs me my life means nothing if it can only be lived for me alone. I am very, very, very serious about it. My mission is to protect Jamaica from all who don't mean Jamaica no good. Melissa just ravaged Jamaica. And we have gotten an opportunity to build back faster, stronger, better, and forward. And the PNP, under the guise of trying to protect Jamaica, that's what they say. The same PNP who asked for the amendment, submitted the amendment in Parliament, claimed that they agreed with NARA, yet voted against the same thing that they said they agreed with. You tell me if you can trust somebody like that. And that's where I land.
Before you go to Uncle Josh, you know, the question tonight is who was the aggressor. So we need each person to say who the aggressor was. You know. Just a brief. Who was the aggressor between?
Well, we don't need to even guess. All the evidence points to Michael Manley, because the first, all right, in a very brief sentence, in a very brief commentary, the first time we started having illegal firearms in Jamaica was when Michael Manley took it upon himself to claim that he sent men to Cuba to learn agriculture, medicine, and other things. Yes, they did learn agriculture, they did learn medicine,
Construction.
but they did not tell you. Huh?
Construction.
And construction. But what they did not tell you is that 1,800 men also were sent to learn paramilitary. At that time, they used to call it guerrilla warfare. In modern day, they call it terrorism. Right? That's what it's now known as. 1,800 men were sent to Cuba to learn terrorism. And the sole aim was to be the then Prime Minister Michael Manley's personal army against Jamaica, because they know that they could no longer manipulate the army and get away with it, because the army had to give account for every life that was lost. But these men would not. And so because Cuba had a relationship with Jamaica, which Michael Manley forged, and the Soviet Union was in the Cold War with the United States, the Soviet Union needed a place down in the Caribbean, which was right in front of the US, in addition to Cuba. And so Soviet-made weapons were being imported in Jamaica, right? Under Cuba. KGB was already in Jamaica. They attempted to assassinate Eddie in the 1980 election. In fact, it's not the first time they do it, right? Because Trevor Monroe, at one point in time, had attempted to assassinate Michael Manley to blame it on Eddie, so that he, Trevor Monroe, can become Prime Minister of Jamaica.
We saw that in our CIA files. We saw that in our redacted CIA files.
Okay. So, Mike, in a nutshell, Michael Manley, every step of the way, was the aggressor. It got to a point where Siaga decided, all right, we just can't sit down and take this for all the while. Right? And whilst he was not as confrontational as he could be, he decided, boy, we have to do something. Right? And begin to stand up to them. And that is when he asked for help from the United States. But the way the PNP twisted it is that CIA came and intervened in our politics. That's lie. He had to ask for help, because the then government was using state resources and bad men, state-sponsored terrorism against its opponent. Right? So that's it, sir.
All right, Uncle Josh. So,
all right, okay. I want to leave the closing to the veteran Darlan. So let me just follow up and if I may be allowed to follow up on Joshua's closing remarks. You know, these two names should be indelibly etched in the minds of all Jamaicans. The names Garth Bromfield and Maurice Stevenson. These were the two little infant boys, 7 and 8 years respectively, whose lives, young lives, were snuffed out in Tophill in St. Elizabeth. By the way, Michael Manley led that operation, and Michael Manley was on the ground. Michael Manley was there. Yes. And I listened to some persons were charged and placed before the gun court arising from that incident. At the time, in the early 1980s, I was working at the gun court, in the specific court in which the case was tried. And I'll never forget this date. I don't remember her name. A superintendent named R.U. Smart gave evidence in that case too. I remember his name. I remember the name of the judge who tried the case and the prosecutor. This judge who tried the case used to try all PNP cases. If D.K. Duncan was charged, the same judge tried the case. If any PNP operative charged, the same judge tried the case. And the prosecutor was Howard Cook's son, Howard Cook Jr. He later became a High Court judge himself. So the PNP has been doing these things long ago, you know. Pack it up with PNP because we have an agenda. And I say so. So I listened to that case. And I'll never forget this lady who said that Michael Manley came out of an helicopter with 2 pipe, one each and white bone and the pipe. She described. I wasn't there, but that's evidence I heard in court. But of course, they were acquitted. All the persons were tried and acquitted by the then Justice Bingham is his name. Was his name? I don't know still around. Probably not around in the land of living anymore. So now, the question that you asked, DUJON, about who was the aggressor.
Yes.
Let me put it in context. Let us for temporarily move past the 1970s to 1980. Yeah. Look what happened after Mr. Siaga won. Mr. Siaga tempered the political violence during his 8 years to the extent where homicide dipped by 50% in his first year. Mr. Siaga laid the foundation where he showed Jamaica that we can live without eating each other. So homicide went down to as low as 405 coming from 889 and Micheal Manley. And when Micheal won back in 1989, in fairness to him, he did not go back to the violence which was associated to the PNP in the 1970s and 1980. And PJ Patterson again came, and if he did nothing else, he did not reignite the political violence. It actually, the homicide went up under them because of how they governed. But it was not political violence that caused the homicides to a large extent under Patterson. Then after Patterson, Portia, it didn't go up under Portia either. The tension on this political tribalism and violence against PNP and JLP. Bruce, same thing. Andrew Worse. Mark Golding has brought it back. Mark Jefferson Golding has brought back memories to me of the 1970s and 1980s. And to me, he would have been a worse prime minister than Micheal Manley. Mark Jefferson Golding, if he had won last year, he would have been worse, 10 times worse. Can you imagine in 2025, Golding come and talk about blood and fire, step up, jungle represent, and people like jungle give me a strength. And you think liberal don't give me so easy, liberal now give me so easy, you know. We have to step up, get busy, and get wicked for them too. That was that Golding brought back to the politics. And I'm glad today that the people rejected that and rejected Golding and that blood and fire concept of politics. And so, to support Joshua again, the JLP built a lot of gullies in the 1960s. Sandy Gully, Constant Spring, Forest Hills, Barnes Gully drainage system, and doing the river, the diversion, doing the river. If those gullies were not built, the whole of Kingston that don't have, and the PNP labeled them gully government. When the JLP was introduced in NIS in 1965, the PNP spun it around and spell it SIN, spell it back and call it SIN, and tell the people, can you imagine 1965, the people were dedicated, you know, and the PNP tell them, say, a syntax the JLP imposed on them. NIS knows that is helping Jamaicans. And we have so many different things, and then come back with the school bus system last year, tell the people that all the bus, and the bus will kill them off. This is what the PNP does, and that's why I'm sure that NARA is good for the people of Jamaica, and we should hold the government responsible, this government responsible for introducing NARA as quickly as possible, and the PNP go sit on one side.
Yep.
You understand?
Yep.
So this 1989 to 89 when Siaga was there, he tempered the violence, brought it down. In the 1970s, a number of police officers joined the force who couldn't read. They couldn't pass the police test. The PNP placed them up in the police force. How they do it? There was only one recruiting center, 79 Duke Street, island wide. No matter where in Jamaica you were living, you would have to go to 79 Duke Street rather to be recruited to the police. What they do is cram up the police training school with them surrogates. The commandant and the deputy of PNP them. So they recruit PNP and put them at the recruiting center So when you reach the voting center, when I reach here and tell them your name, they have your name already, you can't read the test. Oh, me know. I encountered some of them in the late 1970s when I joined the force. There was one there were about 2 of them in my squad. The man them back with them, one of them in particular come from Olympic Gardens. Now I was the squad captain, so I decided that okay, none of my squad in our field, So I got the more advanced students. And we came together and coalesced around them. We gathered around them and we said we are drilling. But one of them couldn't get it, none at all. The other 2 were trying, but him just daft. He can't get it. First exam, the man gets 60 flat. I know I can't believe when I get 60 because at that time I didn't understand. In the second exam, which is supposed to be the hardest exam, because you move from definitions into the law, complex law. The man gets 60 and a half and pass. And in the final stage, he got 61. A lot, so one of them tell me, when I see him, PMP, one of them, say, film name, nobody, film name that you treat long time, you can't feel. And no matter what they do in that training, they can't, they don't dismiss it. No matter how they're bad. You see, I don't want to tell you they couldn't read good. So you go up on the range, come from Olympic Gardens, I remember him. When the man go up on the range, the first corner, he goes out of the 38, 6 of them like bullseye, When I go a long time. People see them come. These, something, John? The Jamaican society, the public service, the public sector in Jamaica, including the police force and the JDA, were all criminalized by Michael Manley.
Yep.
And that has not changed.
Yep.
The party continues to do the same thing.
Yep.
To come up with public service and to use their surrogates to win elections. But you realize what is happening to the police force now under this government. The police force is running like a well-oiled machine, professional organization.
Yep. And
so I joined Joshua in saying in closing that the people of Jamaica should just start to open their eyes and look. When I hear an educated Jamaican today say they don't know which party we go to, because they told them I see, I just look at them. I don't scorn them because I understand that they didn't take the time out to take a look at the 2 parties while they govern and to see what they do. So I pardon them, but I encourage people to begin to go on the internet, to check these things. Don't just listen to us here. Double check it, jump on your phone, you have a gadget, jump on it and check it out. You depend on one, go on the next one. Everybody has 2 and 3 phone or laptop and all kind of stuff. You can jump on the internet and check out these things and get the information for yourself. Don't let anybody fool you. The PMPs out there telling a lot of lies from the leader right down to them vloggers. Pure lie here on social media. Yeah. And they hope to repeat them and reinforce them and emphasize them long and hard enough so that they can convince some people. Don't listen to them, they're telling you a lot of lies. So listen. Thank you again for your attention, those who stay with us. If I sound boring, that is how information is. Information is kind of boring, So you have to have a good listening habit.
Yeah.
You have to cultivate that to listen. If you're going to be educated, you have to listen.
Yep.
You have to pay attention. And listening is different from hearing.
Yep.
You hear because you don't deaf. You hear because you're not deaf.
Yeah,
but you
understand.
Listening, you have to pay attention. It takes effort to listen.
Yep.
God bless you all. Thank you for having me, DUJON.
Yes,
First
man.
time, I shall return.
Yeah, man. Enough respect. Uncle
Respect,
Darlan.
Joshua and...
I'm connecting. I don't like the sound of that one a while ago.
You're going, man. I know that wake you up. When you sleep, you wake up.
Uncle Darlan. Yeah, man. You want to give me a brief closing argument?
Yeah, man. Again, also.
Remember say England me then almost 3 a.m. in the morning. I know.
Oh, all right. I hear you. Come on, I'd say you have to big up for what you're doing, man, and keeping the atrocities before the people, because with 20 years, people forget what really happened before,
Yes.
So you have to keep reminding them. And it must be emphasized that the evil nature of the People's National Party. It's a very evil organization, which its main focus is to get and keep state power.
Yep.
Its main focus is not to develop people or places. And this is a testimony of that. Just look at the constituency where they dominate. and see the kind of conditions under which those people live. And it don't bother the leadership of the party, it don't bother the leadership, the MPs who are there, right? So their mission is not to develop people or places. Their mission is to get and keep power by any means necessary, right? And the Jamaica people must be aware of that. And they will promise you, they will come to the people and promise them all kind of things, knowing fully well they have no intention of implementing them, right? Because even the free education to university where Micheal came with, he announced in May 73. And by June 73, he was signing IMF agreement. That means they were in discussion with the IMF for a program.
Yep.
Because the IMF program not overnight. So while he was there announcing free education to university, he knows he was talking to IMF to get standby agreement to help with imbalance of payment. Because people have been difficulty from those times, right? So people and I'm not going to be too long. But one thing I must emphasize and people should understand is that the PNP, they are the masters of disinformation. They are the masters of disinformation. They are the masters of propaganda. And people have to be aware. And the funny thing is that with these things, they have to just keep repeating it, Okay, every day another baby born, and every day another person come on stage and is not aware and can be fooled. They will fool them. They are the masters of disinformation. During the 70s, the Soviet Union taught them about front organization. And almost every single civil society in Jamaica is a front organization for the PNP. And what people who believe in this country and believe in what the job what the government is doing, we must be prepared to confront these civil society. Confront them at every step of the way. You confront them because they are not genuine. They don't have no interest of the society at all. All they want is for them party to get back in power so that you can have all kind of corrupt arrangement where you can have, what they call it, sinecure behavior can take place where you have man where not qualify for no position but get big position and get big pay. Doing nothing. Right? Because they deliver value for money to the bad and not so bad. But they get the big pay and they get pay and they do nothing. And this is what these people, especially those in civil society, because most of them have them degree. Some of them I don't know where them get it. Right? But them know, and they're there fighting for them party. And the Jamaica people have to be aware of that. These people know to use this information. They are masters of it. They are the most corrupt entity in the Caribbean, the People's National Party, the most corrupt organization in the Caribbean, right? Yet they are the ones coming to talk about accountability, transparency, integrity. Look at them. You have parish councils. Look much parish councils do that. They are in opposition now, but their supporters control the parish councils, a number of parish councils. And look how much billions of dollars them thief in opposition. You can imagine if they were in government, where nobody would be prosecuted.
Exactly.
Jamaica people just have to look at the history of the criminality that went on in Jamaica and see how much people were prosecuted for those crimes. They don't prosecute, and the PNP them don't get no prosecution. That is why crime go through the roof, right? And all I'm saying is that they have to understand this. They are masters of this information. And when they come talk about accountability and transparency and all of that, all they are doing, they are projecting. They know that if they were in the position of the government, the amount of thieving that they would have gone with, the Auditor General couldn't count it.
Exactly.
You understand? So they are presuming now that the government now, the JLP government is now doing the same thing that they would be doing. And the Jamaica people have to be mindful of that. And don't make the PNP come, use no projection and use no disinformation and confuse them, because that is what they are doing. And they should not forget about the long history of the PNP. I think John did a very fine job summing up the thing and showing the list of things and the list of failures that occur under the PNP, right? So I won't bother go over those, but I'll just say that be mindful that they don't use this information and confuse you. And the whole integrity action the other day, it was part of the strategy. That they invested so heavily in that, hoping to use that disinformation of trying to accuse the Prime Minister of wrongdoing, right? They tried very hard to use that to bamboozle the Jamaica people into believing that they're dealing with a dishonest government. And they are not to believe that. But in the long and short of everything, nobody not perfect, but there's good and there's bad.
Mr. Dolan,
Jamaica people have learned to choose between the
Uncle
good
Dolan,
and bad.
Uncle Dolan, very shortly, very pantily, who was the aggressor of Micheal Manley and Edward Siaga? Very pantily.
No, man. No doubt about who was the aggressor. PMP is the aggressor. So first and foremost, the first election was won by the JLP. Of course, it was administered by Britain, right? But the JLP was in power. The second election was won by the JLP. So if you're in power as government, you don't need to use violence, you don't need to use aggression to maintain your position. You don't need to do it, you just have to perform and get the support of the people. But the PNP now was in opposition. They decided to use aggression to win. And they started with Group 69. And their first act of terrorism was the by-election in Garden Town in 1953 or 4, I think it was, right? They came, they unleashed force that time. And the first man who was murdered for politics was Joseph Taylor in Garden Town. So when you're talking about who was the aggressor, PNP, because they had to come fight to take away power. And they have been in that fighting mode from ever since. You understand? So they are the most aggressive party by far, without any question. Now, close. It's not close. This is not photo finish business. This is they win the aggression race by lengths, like secretariat. They are like secretariat when it comes to aggression, greed and corruption. They win by about 34 lengths.
All right.
Now, close, man.
All right, Uncle
But those who
Dolan.
don't follow horse race, you have to let them know who secretariat
Me have to
was.
wrap up, guys. Me have to leave here, so so.
Secretariat, the biggest triple crown. The biggest triple crown winner.
Me thank you
Anyway,
very
but
much.
yeah, man,
Dolan, before you I just want you to briefly tell us about the figures in commission. Just summarize.
Dolan, I want you to be the one who close. Dujon,
Yes.
I'm asking you for just a minute and a half, just to say something quickly, please.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so there's something I've forgotten to mention. For those who may have doubts whether or not the PNP was pursuing a communist agenda, I want you to do a couple of researches for me. All across the PNP was a second member of Socialist International that was formed in 1951. The PNP joined 1952. That is Socialist International. There are only two types of parties that join Socialist International. There are communist parties or socialist parties. The PNP's original color was red. All communist parties in the world, it doesn't matter where they are, their color is red. The third element, all communist parties in the world refer to each other as comrades. barring none. And the PNP has done that. Now the PNP also have a strategy that I'll name out quickly. And you can type in the communist strategy of disinformation. And it is known as active measure or desinformatia. That's what they call it. And it is known as it's a mixture of propaganda, forgery, and covert intelligence operation designed to influence. Right? And it's cultivating foreign politicians, academics, and journalists to promote favorable narrative. Does it look familiar to you guys? And I land right there. Thank you very much.
It was a visit from Russia by Micheal Manley that he first introduced the word comrade.
All right.
That's it.
Well said.
I have to drop the team.
Just to answer the Pickerville thing there. And that is one of the faults I have with my party, because it's like them afraid to imply them supporters into position. When PNP no apology about it. Because the first thing the Pickerville committee was to test the socialist purity of people who are being employed by the government. Because they come and say, yeah, they know, and they want to sound like they're reasonably know. They come and say that you don't expect a non-socialist to implement a socialist agenda. And that was the fig leaf them hide behind, when they employ pure PNP people in every aspect of Jamaican society. Right? Because them don't they're saying that you wouldn't expect socialists and the non-socialists to implement socialist agenda. But most of the positions in government today is still being filled by those people who are trained and cultivated to implement a socialist agenda. And they are the same one who are black and tackling government, preventing things. You can imagine 3 budget now and the capital budget underspent, one by $20 billion, because the procurement process is so tedious and so cumbersome, right? And this is one hour try to cut out to make sure that things can move faster, and that was very good. But what the government to do is go a step further and find people who believe in them agenda and who are ready to implement their agenda. And then not to apologize about the PMP, no apologize about nothing. Them just ram things down people's throat. So why we have to tiptoe and like we have walked on eggshell and afraid to ram things down for them throat. Yeah, well, so we need to do that. Anyway, I'm gonna say good night. But look, guys, you might see a fire going around. I am gonna ask you to take a look at that flyer, and I'm gonna ask you your support on my business here, sir.
All right, Mr.
I might think so. I look at support from all well-thinking people.
All right. We wish you Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So enough respect, guys, for coming on, and I will have you guys back shortly. See?
All right, John. Go and do your
Yeah, man.
Go and do your But focus on this information.
All right.
This information is that thing we have to fight.
Yeah, man. Connecting with that.
Your next program should delve into Nara.
Yeah, man. We delve in it a little bit already, but we don't really do it fully yet. So we are getting at that.
Yeah, man. No problem.
All right. So, Uncle Josh, enough respect, sir.
With a pleasure sharing.
Yeah, man. Enough respect.
All right.
All right, guys. All right, good, John.
All right, guys. So big up all 204 persons who is still here. Please subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. Big up all 149 persons that gave me a thumbs up thus far. And I will soon, tomorrow evening, same time for the regular program. See? So big up on yourself. Enough respect. Shower labor rights.